Yo, 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 yo. What's up? What's up? What's up? We back. Why I ain't put them duds back in the cage? Y'all still got them running around. Hey, what it is?
What?
We is back. You already know. Already know how we do when we do it. Hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. So, y'all, we gotta discuss. It's messed up. We gotta do this, man. I really feel some type of way, for real. To be honest. But I had a conversation with I had a conversation with I bet. I had a conversation with Sean G, right? Man, cool. So I ain't gonna be too hard on him for real. Cause I already rapped on earlier today, yo hit me. Talking about I used his video and shit. So I wound up talking to him. Then after I talked to him, right? Like an hour after I talked to him, this nigga drops a video basically insinuating that Big Meech ain't a rat. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like I just talked to yo not too long ago, and I ain't gonna say in that conversation we talked about Big Meech being a rat or not, but I was just like, dang. Where the fuck did that come from? So immediately after he drops that video, you got people coming over here to our page talking about, yo, Sean G just dropped the video. Yo, I told you wasn't no rat. They say you can't third party cooperate in Georgia. Oh, yeah. So I'm just like, man, yo, I don't really do that. You feel me? Like, I don't know. I ain't really got time. I mean, how I operate. You know, everybody operate different. You feel me? But I ain't got time to be sending people on roller coaster rides. Like, I ain't with that. Like, that's how he do his thing. That's how he do his thing. You feel me? Like, I'm just gonna keep it all be real all the time. This what it is. This what it ain't. These are the facts. Take it how you want it. You understand what I'm saying? But everybody do things different. So he did a video talking about you can't third party cooperate in Georgia. And the crazy thing about it, right? It was people commenting that based off the conversations I had with them in the comments, they either been to the feds, did some time in prison statewide. They know about the system. At least have a good a somewhat decent understanding about the system. So, first and foremost, y'all, if you can do it in California, you can do it in Georgia. Federal is federal. Like it's not like state. That's why I don't see how so many people. Like I always say, people want to believe in magic. When we was young, we believed in the Easter Bunny. A lot of us believed in Santa Claus. People want to believe in Big Meech. Just, you know, based off his image, based off the story. People want to believe in him. So he can say something like that and people would just throw out common sense. Y'all, federal law is the law of the land. It don't vary by state to state to state. So if you can third party cooperate in Albuquerque, New Mexico, in that part of the United States, you can third party cooperate in Georgia. But like I say, people just want to believe the big meats thing. Like they want to believe that this man didn't tell. They want to believe that Tammy did this on her own. Right, exactly, John. Exactly. But it was like, people, you said, oh yeah, already, James. Yeah, we gotta talk about that type stuff, yo. That type stuff is important, yo, because it's happening right under our noses and nobody is speaking on it. They did, yo, but see, this is the thing, right? Everybody, when I say everybody, a lot of people was fans of Meech and his story and, the things that he did drug-wise and what he did musically. Yo, but the man bust the move. He pulled the play. It's obvious. Like, yo, I don't have to see anything from Tammy. Tammy ain't never got to come out and do a fucking video. She ain't never, like, people keep, well, you gotta wait. I don't have to wait for nothing. It is so obvious what happened in that situation. I even had a dude. Matter of fact, let's go to this video. Listen to this shit, y'all. Sweet to my man Fly Guy. Y'all don't want to come at the Fly Guy. But Fly Guy sent me a video of these two guys, right? I don't know who they is. I don't know where they from. I don't know their history. It's two white guys. But they're talking about, it should be in my history. Yo, why they keep signing me out of YouTube, man? Hold on, y'all. They ready to click me out because they keep signing me out and I gotta verify myself again. Keep talking about suspicious activities. Nothing suspicious. Like, this is me every time. Like, what the fuck? All this is me. No, I don't see any unfamiliar activity. I don't. Nothing is unfamiliar. You trying to make me change my fucking... I don't want to change my passport. Hold on, y'all. I'm still not signed in. Hold on, y'all gotta change my password. Hold up, man. Cause this is crazy. All right, now I'm good now. Yeah, so he sends me a video, right, about these two guys talking about, the guy had the nerve to say, y'all just got here for yourself, the shit was hilarious to me. But like I always say, these people get away, they get away with this shit because a lot of people are civilians and they don't really understand how this go. So they're able to get away with it. But if you have any understanding of the system, listen to this man's story about how Meech isn't a rat and how he know about third-party cooperation a lot. He's very well versed in third-party cooperation. He even said that you can third-party cooperate without the person knowing. You think you know what? Listen to this nigga, man. And I will point out two glaring lies that say that his whole story is bogus and bullshit. What's up, homie? Look at this guy right here. Now, I don't know this guy. He's a prison insider, I guess. I never knew they had prison insiders. That's a new terminology to me. Maybe I'm a prison insider. You know, maybe you can be self-proclaimed. You know, maybe that's something that you name yourself. Never heard of it. But listen to this dude.
That they reduce your sentence. And he says, of course, this is what he's, so he's like, he goes out there, he gets like a mandatory minimum of 10. Now, let me back up. He's dating the Puerto Rican princess.
Listen to this nigga, y'all.
Scott had been dating.
Down. So
now he's ready to talk about. He's ready to talk about how he knows somebody that did a third-party cooperation. But listen to this story, y'all. Listen to this story.
Like I said, there's a lot going on here.
Right.
Originally, Tammy, we'll give you a question.
Do you want me to explain what third-party cooperation is?
Absolutely. Yeah, break it down.
Firsthand, I have an example of it. There was a guy, and I probably got 5 or 6 examples of it. There was a guy that was locked up in the medium security, in Coleman Federal Medium Security Prison with me, and his name was Scott. So I'm not gonna say his last.
Red flag. You can't tell this story. If you're gonna mention the name, you gotta mention the whole name first and foremost, because by just saying his name is Scott, nobody can fact check you. Nobody can type in Scott and find out who the fuck Scott is. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the first red flag. He didn't give it no names. He just said Scott. Scott third-party cooperated. But let him continue.
Last name, but Scott had been dating this girl. He called her the Puerto Rican princess. And Scott was Asian American, so he was half American, half Asian. 6 foot tall, good looking guy.
Oh my God!
Probably in his
higher model too.
Early 20s when this happened. Yeah. So he's dating this girl. He and his buddies are selling whatever, they're moving drugs. But to be honest with you, I don't even remember what it was. I think they also, some of them owned.
He's adding to the story. This guy's obviously lying. But let me show you how I know he lying for a fact.
Some car lots. And so like they were moving, they were doing it. It was a very, look, because most of these guys were Asian, it was a very sophisticated operation. Right. They get caught, he gets 10 years. Now, let me back up. He's dating the Puerto Rican princess. One day, he dated her for a year or two. They were living together.
The Puerto Rican princess.
She comes home, he's gone. He actually had been sleeping with her best friend. Her best friend and him move in together. And the Puerto Rican princess comes home one day. His shit's gone. She finds out very quickly he's living with her best friend. Puerto Rican princess is devastated. She packs all his shit and leaves. He didn't even know what happened to her. Maybe a year later, he said, we all get busted. Everybody gets busted. Not the new girlfriend. Now, the new girlfriend that he had, she ditches him. She's gone. He's like, I think she came to see me one time. So he ends up taking a plea of 10 years. He gets like a mandatory minimum of 10. Doesn't cooperate. So ends up in the medium security prison with me. He had done maybe 2 years. He'd been locked up maybe 2 years. And one day he tells me, he comes back from visit and he's like shocked. And I was like, hey, what's up? How was your visit? I figured his mom came to see him or something. And he says, you're not going to believe this. He said, and he explains about the Puerto Rican princess. And he goes, she just came to see me. He goes, I literally like a week ago, the counselor called him in and said, some girl just got put on your visitation list.
Red flag. Red flag lies. Yo, you cannot just get put on a person visitation list. They have to do it. They have to do it. So right then and there, tell you his whole story is bullshit. Yo, you know what kind of problems that can bring? What if he didn't want to see her? What if she came to see him and he killed her on a visit, strangled her? Yo, you know what kind of lawsuit that'd be on the federal government? You understand what I'm saying? Yo said the girl just came to see him. Never got put on the visiting list. It's a lie. A bold-faced lie. But I'm letting him continue.
Says the name. He's like, wow. He never couldn't get in touch with her to even call her to be like, hey, what's going on? She just showed up. So he's like, he goes out there. She's crying. I've always missed you. Or, I missed you. I've always loved you. Blah, blah, blah. Right? You know, and he's shocked because he's like, listen, bro, I left this girl so cruel, like just ditched her. Never talked to her again, nothing. So he goes and talks to her. She's crying, everything.
Too,
and while they're there, she says, listen, I know a couple of guys. This one guy really likes me. He wants to date me. He's a big time drug dealer. And he says, okay. And she's like, look, I'll do the rest of the time with you, but I want to get you out of here. And he's like, how's that going to happen? She says, right. I know a girl that knows a DEA agent. She told me that if I help the DEA, they'll give you a time cut. Like they'll go to front of the judge. They'll say, this guy had somebody out on the outside help us. We didn't pay her because she said it's very specific. I can't get paid, but if I help them, they'll give you a cut. They'll recommend to the prosecutor that they reduce your sentence. And he says, of course, this is what he said to me, by the way, in a medium security prison, surrounded by like another guy that was we were all very close. It was me and him and another guy named Mike. And he's like, you know, I told her not to do it. I told her absolutely not. But man, can you believe that? That's what she wanted to do. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy, bro. And I'm like, so when do you think you'll be leaving? He's like, no, I'm not going to do that, bro. I'm not going to do that. I was like, okay. So maybe
edit it again.
A few months later, he says, man, bro, she's doing this. Like I told her not to, but she says she's doing it. She's already talked to the agent. She's already hanging out with this guy, going to parties. Like I told her not to do this, but she wants me out. She's in love, whatever. You know, what's so funny is like this guy, you know, he was shocked because of how he left it, right? Like he just leaves. I mean, he's gone. So anyway, another 3, 4, maybe 6 months goes by. I go in his cell one day, walk in. What's going on? He's in there. Mike's in there. And Mike looks up at me and looks at him and he goes, tell him. He goes, come on. And he looks at Mike and he goes, bro, tell him. He's not going to say anything. He don't give a fuck. And I looked at him. I was like, what's up? He's like, bro, I just got my sentence cut. Because they're sending me to a halfway house.
Yo, that story is total bullshit. Oh, it's bullshit. Listen, y'all. Listen to this, right? If that was say what he's saying is true. You know, the girl came to visit the guy. She just mysteriously ended up on his visiting list. We throw that out. Let's say he put her on a list. Let's make the story believable. He put the girl on a list. She comes and visits him. She tells him she can get him a time cut. She can do this, that, and the third. She can't get paid because that is a rule. And I think that's what fucked Meech up. It's a rule that if you're working to get somebody a time cut, and I found this off the DC nigga page. You know, I give credit when it's due. You understand? It's a rule that if you're working to get somebody a time cut, that person can't get paid. That might be what fucked Meech over, because Tammy got paid. And if you remember originally, Tammy wasn't getting no payment. But I think once she got that payment, it fucked them over. But anyway, get back to this story. So he told her not to do it. She does it anyway. Now, he gets 2 years reduced off his sentence, sent to the halfway house. Now, what if the guys in prison find this out and found out that he had some third-party cooperation type shit going on, and he gets stabbed and killed in prison? Then they find out, yo, I ain't never tell her to do that. She did it on her own, and they gave me a time cut. Lawsuit. Multi-million-dollar lawsuit. Yo, there is no way that a person can work on your behalf and you not co-sign it. It's no way, yo. So for people that even think that's even, yo, that is not even a possibility. It's not a possibility that Tammy was working and Meech didn't know, and it was for him to get it. It's not a possibility. I said she got paid. I said she got paid. Originally, she didn't get paid. She said she got paid when Wisconsin was ready to retire. He put up for a award and she got paid. She didn't get paid before that. She wasn't working to get paid. She wasn't working to get paid. It's all in the documents. We got to go back and read them. That might be what fucked Meech over. She took that payment. Maybe she didn't know. Maybe she didn't know she couldn't get paid. But when they go through the legality of it, they figured out, well, she got paid. That ruins everything. But I said that to say, y'all, I don't know. Well, I know why Sean G did that video, but I wouldn't have done it because Meech did what he did. He did what he did, man. There's no way she can do that shit and not get away with it. And everybody is reading off this Frank's motion or this Frank's hearing where she lied. Yo, but she didn't lie until she got exposed, y'all. And for the people that say, well, how can you believe it? Because what reason would Tammy have to throw Meech's name in it before she got exposed? What reason? Why would she tell these agents that, yeah, Meech is involved? Meech knows. For what? If she was just working on her own. Like, yo, people gotta use common sense, yo. I know people like Meech, yo, but yo, it is what it is. But I ain't gonna be too hard on Sean G like I would because I can reach him. And I already told him how I felt about that shit. And he explained to me his reasoning, why he did that. You know, those is his reasons. I let it, he do what he do. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it. Because now you got people like Hot Boy coming over here like, no, he just did the video. Yeah, he was. Cuffy was broke. That don't change. Yo, me saying Cuffy was broke and he was scratching doesn't change the fact that, yo, he got set up by Meech and Tammy. That don't change that. That's still, two things can be true. Yeah, he was broke. Yeah, he was scratching. And the reason why I said that he was broke and he was moving wild is because how do you you got $7 million load just got knocked off, or not 7 million, what was it, 7 kilos or 2 kilograms of H just got knocked off, and the people came home the same day. That should have told you it was an investigation going on. But when you broke, sometimes you ignore those red flags. I got robbed like that before. You understand? Chasing, trying to make some money. Knew the niggas wasn't right. In my mind, I'm just going, if they play with me, I'm going to do what I do. You understand? And, people move like that sometimes, yo. But that is a terrible way to move. Whenever you're moving out of desperation, yo, you're going to fail. You're going to lose. You don't ever move out of desperation, yo. You don't ever make decisions out of desperation. Any decision you make out of desperation is going to be the wrong decision. You're not thinking it all the way through. Because desperation clouds your judgment. It clouds your judgment. Because you're not thinking about, even if it crosses your mind, the repercussions. Only thing you're thinking about is getting out this situation. This situation right now is more important to me than what I could be facing. But, he fucked up. Drugs do too. You're right. But not as bad as desperation does. Not as bad as desperation. And I think that's how yo was moving. He's moving out of desperation. And he made a bad choice. Cause ain't no fucking way 2 keys of H get knocked off. And they released the dudes the same day, and then you send them on another mission. So everybody was moving out of desperation, to be honest. Everybody was moving out of desperation. And, that's how he got caught. He got caught down bad. Meech, he used that to his advantage, and he put him in a trick bag. No, he didn't. That's what I'm saying. He was fucked up. He was driving a 99 Toyota Camry, 120,000 miles. He was fucked up, and they took advantage of that. Gave him fake work and charged him with real work. But I don't know what made y'all. I mean, I keep saying I do know what made him do it, yo. But I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it. Rule 35, third-party cooperation. No, I just don't think. I just don't think that. I just ain't got time to be sending people on roller coaster rides. Under Rule 13A, it may assert any counterclaim against the third-party plaintiff. May assert against the plaintiff any defense that third-party plaintiff has the plaintiff claim. Transaction occurrence. Against the third-party defendant any claim about the transaction occurrence. I'm looking for criminal law. Rule 35B, third party right to be credited in a person. All right, here we go. Safety valve, federal law, safety valve. Officer cooperate. Yeah, I got that. Citizen cooperation sentence. 35B. Saying that defendant has assisted in the investigation and prosecution of another person who has committed. A person can receive a reduction for cooperating even after the court imposed a sentence. Under Rule 35 of Criminal Procedure, 35B, a sentencing judge may reduce the sentence upon motion of the government stating that the defendant has given substantial assistance in the investigation and prosecution of another person who has committed an offense. Substantial assistance can include a cooperator giving verbal information to law enforcement, a cooperator going undercover to observe criminal activity, a cooperator agreeing to debriefing with law enforcement officers, prosecutors, and criminal defense attorneys, and a cooperator testifying in court or testifying before a grand jury. Once the target of the cooperation is brought to justice, usually by either pleading guilty or being found guilty at trial, the cooperator's attorney approaches the prosecutors and asks for appropriation reduction in sentence. Third, not only can an accused person receive a reduction when they cooperate with law enforcement, but a loved one who can cooperate in order for an incarcerated person to receive a reduction in sentence. Examples of this may include a cooperator going undercover to observe criminal activity. Yeah, like, oh, this is not Georgia law, man. Well, Cuffy had some cruddy ways. Cuffy was going to get Lorenzo Gibbs killed, and he knew Lorenzo Gibbs for 30 years. So, he got some cutthroat in him. He got some cutthroat in him. Now, we ain't going to act like he don't. All right. We are approached often by individuals that have cooperated in the past and have not received a reduction for their cooperation. Some of these individuals are also in the statute of limitations that have valid claims for 2255 motions, including ineffective assistance of counsel. This represents a crucial time for those persons. Oh, this is something different. I'm trying to find where third parties. Can a person who is cooperating on behalf of another person receive payment?
According to federalregister.gov, the collection of information contained in Section 1. 6041-1 is needed to clarify the requirements for filing an information return under Section 6041 when a person makes a payment on behalf of another person or to joint payees.
Oh no, this is something different. This ain't what I'm looking for. Yeah, that came from the DCD page. But you just heard this guy say the same thing, so I'm willing to bet that is true. And I think the payment is what fucked over Meech and his so-called deal. Yeah, but it's obvious what went on though, y'all. Like, I don't think it's really refutable. And it's crazy. It's like the people in the comments, they going harder than Meech and Meech people's going. Like, why you think they so quiet? That man, they quiet as a motherfucker. They know what the fuck that boy did. They still going off at Woodlawn. But yeah, yo, I just wanted to say that, yo. I don't know. I don't operate like that. Like, that's how he do his thing. I mean, I told him how I felt about it. I asked him, I said, what you took payment? He said he ain't take no payment. He told me not to question his integrity like that. But that was a wild ass video to put out, bro. Charlene. What is this?
I also get lots of questions about Rule 35 on a third-party basis. What is third-party cooperation or proxy cooperation? Third-party cooperation is when, instead of the defendant in the federal case cooperating on his own behalf, the government would agree to allow some third party, usually somebody that the defendant knows or has some former dealing with, to cooperate on his or her behalf. What happens here is that the third party, who would be the cooperator, is working usually with the Drug Enforcement Administration.
Oh shit!
To set up a
normally with the DEA. Ain't that who she was working with? The DEA.
By or do a reverse sting or something like that that would benefit the government. In exchange for that, the defendant on whose behalf the cooperator is doing the work would get a sentence reduction. There are a number of ways that third-party cooperation can be problematic. First, some particular U.S. attorneys' offices frown on the practice and just generally won't accept third-party cooperation. One really good reason to have an attorney involved from the very beginning is you want to know that up front. If they won't play ball, then you shouldn't.
But that listen. But that doesn't mean it can't be done. You understand what I'm saying? It's a difference between they won't accept it and it's not legal. Third-party cooperation is legal in every state because it's guided under federal law. Now, what he already explained is, it get dicey, and this is a prime Big Meat situation is a prime example of how it gets dicey. She ended up fucking with the DEA agent on some level.
Ball, then you shouldn't is you want to know that up front. If they won't play ball, then you shouldn't have a third-party cooperator stick out their neck. The attorney involved in the situation has to work very closely with the law enforcement agency, with the cooperator, always keeping the U.S. Attorney's Office in the loop in order not to lose the benefit of what's going on. But if the cooperation is successful after the U.S. Attorney's Office has said that they would accept the cooperation from the third party, then the result is generally the same. It's a sentence reduction that can eliminate a mandatory minimum if that's an issue, but it will certainly reduce the sentence for the defendant who's serving their federal sentence. If you have questions about Rule 35 or specifically about third-party cooperation, I'm glad to discuss those matters on a free consultation basis by phone. My phone number is 512-693-9529. That's 512-693-9-LAW. My name's Chad Van Cleve, and I hope to hear from you.
Let's see if he went any deeper into this. He did that 11 years ago. He only got 4 videos up. He only got 4 videos up. What's up, Tay? Yeah, but look, you got 50 Cent. Look at this though, y'all. 50 Cent vouched for 1090 Jake. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, yo, this the shit that be pissing me off with people. Like, you really vouching for 1090 Jake, bro? 1090 Jake. Telling 1090 Jake got the big niche paperwork. But what he posted is paperwork that we all seen already. We seen this already. We read all of this. I mean, if you blow it up, you can't see it right here. But this the paperwork that we already read. This is not new paperwork. So why is he over this bitch vouching for 1090 Jake? 50 wild as shit for that. See, that's why I ain't on no Team 50 bandwagon. Like, you know, we ain't doing this shit because of no motherfucking 50. 50 ain't no man of integrity. He's goddamn so. For real. You know, he real.
Like, what would you want me to do? Because that's illegal. But
Illegal?
yeah, you can't take all these AI pics and just start. That's what Shorty on the court for.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do that. But I don't have a problem with it. I think that's corny. And that's 50. I got all respect in the world from. But if I get tired of it and it stops paying, then yeah, it's war time.
These niggas clowns. These niggas always want to run to the
Post
motherfucking...
me for 7 days in a row. Fucking what else happened? I have a problem with it. We get lawyers involved. Like, what would you want me to do? Because that's illegal. But
Illegal?
yeah, you can't take all these AI pics and just start. That's what Shorty on the court for.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do that. But I don't have a problem with it. I think that's corny. And that's 50. I got all respect in the world from. But if I get tired of it, then it's
Yo, these niggas be crazy, yo. Like, I'm sick and tired of this throw rocks and hide your hand ass shit. Like, yo, everybody want to say whatever the fuck they want to say. But the minute somebody react, now it's an issue. Now motherfuckers trying to sue people. And, man, these niggas.
This video is rated R.
Weirdos. Weird ass niggas. Yeah, but I thought this is very goofy of 50. You got all these content creators, all these black content creators speaking on this shit. And he posts 1090 Jake. Who is a horrible person. My man Byron Blake been exposing 1090 Jake for a couple days now. For like shit, probably for a couple months now. He just did a video on it. He just did a video exposing some more, yo. 1090 Jake caused a lot of damage with them fucking videos. That man ain't got no credibility. I see people in the comments talking 1090 Jake. He gonna keep it real. 1090 Jake live for Rallo. He the reason why people don't even realize Rallo a rat.
Search for Taylor Brands to get that LLC next to your business
Did that
name.
video
Just go to their
online for that
site,
man.
enter your LLC state, add your business name, answer.
With the prison genre of YouTube on the rise and Florida prisons being a specifically hot topic, we will be introduced to a number of characters from Florida. In this specific episode, we are going to focus on Pino and how a dispute with 1090 Jake almost cost him his freedom for the rest of his life. In 2018, the world was shocked as images from inside a Florida prison surfaced showing fights and inmates holding machetes. The person responsible for this footage was a YouTuber by the name of K-Frog. K-Frog had taken these images while locked up and had intentionally leaked them to the internet for notoriety. He planned to launch a YouTube channel called K-Frog TV, in which he would post videos of things that he recorded while inside prison, and the news would be the perfect place to announce this. K-Frog's channel was launched January 28, 2018, and his news segment aired January 30th, 2018. K-Frog would even eventually make his way to No Jumper, where he would sit right in Adam's face and tell a lie, but I guess content is content. This conversation would be a clear indication to me that K-Frog knew that what he was doing was wrong. He knew that he was exposing other inmates to penalties, and he knew he was basically telling on all of the guys.
All seen it all. So it's just me. What it was is, when you see documentaries and stuff like that on prisons, you never see them inside of Florida prison. You always see the outskirts of the institution.
Really?
So I was the first one in Florida that ever recorded inside of a prison. That's why in Florida. That's why I went viral. You see?
It would have been better if you had just saved the footage till after you got out, right?
Yo, happy about that.
I was out when I dropped the shit.
Oh, but I thought you said that you dropped it and then did extra time in the hole while you were in there.
No, yeah, because they knocked me off for the footage. But I never, not from YouTube. People were telling I had a TV show on the compound.
According to this paperwork, they got up on K-Frog because they were listening to a phone call and overheard him talking about social media. And according to this paperwork, K-Frog got caught for posting stuff on social media while he was in prison. So he literally just sitting in Adam's face lying. Yeah, you was posting it while you was in jail. The reason why he denied that is because inmates were probably getting in trouble for stuff while they were in there and wondering how did the police know this, and the whole time K-Frog sitting right next to him with a camera recording everything and putting it on social media.
You see, but they never found the actual footage.
Oh, okay.
This is why
I knew about it, like my DRs, which
this is why we don't allow these motherfuckers in the culture. And then people get mad, and it's not all of them. Don't get me wrong. It's some solid white boys out here. But you got we don't be doing shit like this, as a whole. Like you got him, 1090 Jake, the other one, like look at all them videos, all them pictures he just showed to these people.
The disciplinary reports where they write you up said K-Frog, he had social media's name this, like they knew my nickname, it was all in my DR, my write-ups.
Right.
So I got put in there for footage.
This would also show that K-Frog has strategically planned this viral moment by recording this footage years ahead of time, planning to release it, and then even planning to use the news to make the announcement that he had the footage. After seeing K-Frog's quote-unquote success, many more inmates would be inspired to share their journey. And in 2019, we will meet Pino and 1090 Jake. All hailing from Florida, it seemed only right that the three would connect. In the following months, we would see the creation of content, and the group appeared to be developing a network. In late 2019, Jake would approach the group with an idea. He would follow in K-Frog's footsteps and use the news channel to promote his YouTube channel. Only his methods would go a little further. Where K-Frog had himself recorded the videos and was in them, Jake would be only posting other inmates in facilities he had not been to. Where K-Frog would decline to say how he got a cell phone in prison, Jake would blow up the scheme of the guards who were making money by bringing in contraband for the inmates. K-Frog didn't really care either way. His time was done, and these were just the guys he did content with. Pino, on the other hand, wanted no parts of causing problems for the inmates and the gangs on the inside. See, Jake's background is really a mystery still to this day. No one knows where he actually grew up and where he hung as a youth. K-Frog is from Davie. And while everywhere can be dangerous, Davie is pretty much a safe place. But Pino was from Pompano Beach, Florida, the home of faces like Lamar Jackson and Kodak Black. Pompano Beach is located in Broward County and no stranger to violence at all. With that said, it's only logical that Pino saw this whole talking to the news about the inside thing differently from the others.
You see what I'm saying?
Pino's upbringing had exposed him to the true
Pino
reach
knew
of the
better.
streets early in life.
Pino was really from it.
So while they were
These
looking for a way
motherfuckers
to be
playing.
known and validated in the street, Pino was looking for a way to get out of the streets. The last thing he wanted to do was have every inmate in the Florida Department of Corrections mad at him. Some of those boys had reached to the streets, and he knew firsthand the streets were not to be played with. Pino would try to pass this game on to Jake, but Jake would disregard it, seemingly locked in on his mission. And as Jake went harder, arguing points for why he should do it, Pino realized that Jake's mission had a personal feeling to it. On December 19th, 2019,
I told y'all why 1090 Jake did this. 1090 Jake did this because 1090 Jake was getting treated bad in prison. The guards let him get fucked up. This was his revenge. This was 1090 Jake revenge on the Florida prison system. But it ended up being a revenge on everybody. Motherfuckers got booked like, yo, this is dirty work. And 50 just vouched for y'all.
Enter phase 1 of his plan by uploading the video to his YouTube channel. And within a month, he would appear on the news with the exact same reporter as K-Frog, but only this time, Jake would go all in.
If you live anywhere here in the red circled area on the map and you have an old, struggling furnace or heating system,
how easy is it to get drugs in a Florida prison?
Every single compound I hit, there was all types of drugs on there, whether it's prescription pills, Molly, some spots there was cocaine and meth, but nothing more common than K2.
Jacob Cherry, a former inmate, posted the videos to YouTube.
Hit that like button, y'all.
Not responding.
They got 28 likes. That's why we ain't got no people on here.
There's no staff seeing this. The majority of the drugs that I know of that are coming inside is through the guys. When you're not really making any money and a $30 phone on the street turns into a $1,200 phone inside a prison, a lot of people are gonna do it.
In the months following Jake's news segment, the Florida Department of Corrections would go on a rampage, shaking down and investigating the facilities shown in Jake's videos. This would lead to charges against a lot of people, mostly prison gang members who allegedly had officers under their wing. Being a first-hand witness to these events, Pino started to separate himself from Jake and K-Frog, and this is where things took a very twisted turn. Because Pino and K-Frog were both still in Florida, they were a little cooler with each other than they were with Jake, who was back in Massachusetts. At least that's what Pino thought. One day around March of 2020, just after Jake appeared on the news, Pino would express to K-Frog how he disagreed with the news tactic, specifically how it affected the inmates. The last thing Pino wanted to do was be associated with that, and he suggested that K-Frog fall back from Jake as well. Jake was 1,000 miles away in Massachusetts. Pino and K-Frog were still right in arm's reach of those affected. K-Frog, obviously blinded by the potential fame and money, would take this back to 1090 Jake, who would immediately devise a plan to put a muzzle on Pino. Less than 1 week after his conversation with K-Frog, Pino would be taken by surprise when he opened his social media page and saw his comments flooded with claims that 1090 Jake and K-Frog had exposed Pino as a snitch. Jake did not need Pino running around the streets of Florida letting everybody know that it was he who had started this investigation into the prisons and the gangs. So he needed to destroy Pino's street credibility. What better way than to label him a rat? Jake and K-Frog would release documents showing that Pino talked to the police about a crime he was involved in. And with the troll culture at its peak, Pino would not be able to explain his way out of it, so he decided to take action. He started off looking for K-Frog, and though they were both in Florida, somehow there were no results. He eventually made his way to Boston where he met with Jake, and the results of that meeting would leave Jake bloody and embarrassed.
Beat his ass.
Still, the damage was done, and if Pino were to say that Jake was doing some undercover snitching without some actual proof that someone was arrested or some paperwork, the world would say he was just deflecting. It's important to note that all of these things transpired within 3 months of Jake going on the news. So all of the investigations that would eventually lead to charges were still going on. This would actually be around the time that the department was receiving data back from the phones that had been confiscated during the shakedown. That's why Pino had no paperwork or proof other than what he knew, because he was in Florida and was a witness to what was going on. None of the paperwork had came down yet. Nobody was charged yet. These incidents were actually still being investigated. Jake would then pull a double cross on K-Frog and expose paperwork on him as well. It would seem as though Jake wanted to cut ties with anybody who could directly tie him to what was going on, and also wanted to make sure whatever they said about him would fall.
Yo, but see, this is the crazy thing. Where he get this paperwork from? Police probably sent them the paperwork. Police probably sent them the paperwork. He probably told the police, look, man, they on my ass. They're going to expose. Yo, this man's a fucking agent. Like, yo, y'all think I be joking, yo. Like, it is a lot of agents on YouTube, y'all. A lot of them. He just pops up with their paperwork. Hell no, he was giving that shit, I think.
Just when Jake thought he had put an end to Pino, in came Adam from No Jumper. Pino appears on No Jumper and is introduced by Adam as a YouTube legend and a street legend.
We got a YouTube legend, a street legend, etc. Pino is in the building. What's going on? How you feeling, bro? I'm feeling good, bro. How you feeling?
This is just months after busting 1090's Jake's head up on Instagram Live. Pino would answer some questions in the interview about Jake, and this would re-spark the tension, but more importantly, it would show Jake that Pino was still a problem and his voice still had reach. Although Pino would express during this interview that his life focus was shifting and he had grown out of certain mindsets, the threat of the information he held made him a lifelong target for Jake, who wanted to protect his newfound status, so the smoke was still on. In June of 2021, Pino got arrested, and the paperwork would show that a week after Pino's interview on No Jumper aired, the police were monitoring his Instagram when they allegedly noticed he was posting guns. According to the report, this account had been monitored for about 6 to 9 months. And while Jake would make a video attempting to clear himself of any involvement, the start of the investigation into Pino dates back to the middle of the conflict between Pino, Jake, and K-Frog the year before in 2020. I wonder if it just slipped Pino's mind or if he was so blinded by the anger that he didn't stop to think, hey, this guy was just on the news telling on a bunch of people, using a video he posted on social media as a launching pad and a rollout. I say that because knowing that, one would have to assume that Jake's social media is being monitored, especially when he was claiming that prisoners were actually using the contraband phones to contact him on social media asking for help spreading the word. But hindsight is always perfect. Also happening around that same time was a crackdown by the Broward County Sheriff's Office and the Florida Department of Corrections. As we discussed in the other videos, after Jake did his news segment, there were shakedowns at the prisons. Information found in the contraband phones found during those shakedowns led investigators to believe that the prison gangs were using recently released inmates to get contraband back into the system, as they would be the most familiar with the workings from the inside.
State of the art meets work of art.
50 must have got this information. So I don't know what the fuck made him vouch for 1090 Jake. Like, that is insane. You vouch for this nigga.
54 people will be arrested as a result of this partnership between the Department of Corrections and the Broward County Sheriff's Office. Jake's news rally against the Department of Corrections was turning up big results. Dirty officers were getting caught. Prison gang drug operations busted up, and some of these cases were leading to information about operations on the streets. The Department of Corrections looked to be really cleaning up and could not afford to have Jake hurt. Jake was admittedly working as a middleman between the snitch inmates in the prisons who wanted the word out and the good police officers who wanted to stop corruption. This was very important to the department. The same Broward unit that partnered with the Department of Corrections to do Operation Green Shield is the same unit that investigated and charged Pino.
Damn.
Coincidence?
Hell
Or
no.
was this a direct message to Pino that the Department of Corrections
fucking
would not
coincidence.
tolerate the badgering and intimidation of the face of its new war on contraband and prison gangs?
Ain't no fucking
A
coincidence.
warrant for Pino was issued on June 25th, 2021. And by June 29th, 2021, Jake had his video mocking Pino's arrest done and uploaded. Now, if you ask me, I know exactly what happened to Pino. You was playing with one of their people, bro. You almost exposed one of their operations. And so they got you. Now, at the time, it was hard to
Man. Pino. Fight.
Come here, you little fat bitch. Get your little fat ass on the ground. Come here. Oh, you fat ass don't want to stay still. Put your head in the dirt. Oh, shit. There's blood everywhere. Let me get up out of here, man. Let me get up out of here. Oh, you want to follow me? Come here, bitch. Ain't no running. Come here. You want another fade? Why you keep wiping your face? Clean your blood up. Come here. Clean your fucking blood up.
That boy ain't got no scrap in him. He not even built. He don't got the build to even have any scrap in him. Like, look how he built. Niggas that's built like this can't fight, man. Look slow.
Telling me let's go. Nah, I ain't got time to go. Come on.
Don't hits probably don't hurt.
Get some more.
He ain't got no agility. Like, niggas is built like 1090 Jake can't fight nobody, man. He better off running.
You feeling me? What's up, everybody?
Right.
Po ass nigga. What's up, po ass nigga? How your face feeling? How your face feeling? Hold on, man. Fuck this shit. Fuck it. Drop it. Fuck that shit. What's up, everybody?
Yeah, so that shit got his ass booked. Fuck around with one of their agents. Well, let's see what he said about this. Then we're gonna move on to Diddy.
With Asana, AI teammates can pull real-time data and help keep work on
Y'all
track.
remember the other day when we talked about Diddy and that jailhouse raid and how the judge sided completely with the state?
Asana.com.
Is the prison YouTuber scene talked about a lot in prison? Well, I guess you haven't been back. But
No,
I wonder to what extent.
I've never even heard of the prison
Really?
YouTube
Okay.
scene.
But it has gotten a lot bigger, so maybe it is a thing now.
It's a lot bigger now, but I never even heard of a prison YouTube scene. People were pressing me towards that, and that's when me and Josh talked in the DM, and I was like, go ahead, we can set it up, and we did our first interview.
Mm-hmm. And so did that kind of open your eyes to like, damn, people want to know more about this life that I've lived?
That and the drama. People like to pick apart the drama because with that interview, I kind of breached up. You know, he asked me an honest opinion about another YouTuber who I had no idea who he was. And I just gave my personal opinion. He said, do you know about 1090 Jake? I gave him my personal opinion, bro. 1090 Jake, what the fuck that mean? 1090 means set tripping. Like, where I'm from, 1090 means set tripping means you got to move. You got to get out the way. So I said that on the interview, and I guess it sparked a little, like, you know, back and forth through the comments and the fans, because he just went viral on 23-1. So the fans were like going back and forth or whatever. We ended up being cool after that.
Okay.
Me and 1090 Jake, we talked it out. We did an interview and all. We ended up being cool. And we linked up with another YouTuber. I ain't even gonna give that fuck boy no clout. Honestly, I ain't even gonna say his name on this channel.
Okay.
But we linked up with another YouTuber who I ain't even gonna talk about it. I ended up bitching him up. I called him out to a fight in this city and he didn't come.
Okay.
So that's that. Me and 1090 Jake ended up getting into it because.
I remember this. Where was that you pulled up on him?
It was on Dorchester.
Oh, okay.
Dorchester,
Why the fuck are you in Massachusetts?
So I was, all right, so everybody thinks, so, all right, let me explain this situation, bro, because everybody thinks that me and 1090 were just like a sanctioned fight, like we were just supposed to fight, like this shit was
It
set
did not
up.
look like that. It looked like you ran down on him.
It was not set up at all. It was none of that. I was going to Boston with my brother on a personal business mission. We were on a whole nother tip. I posted my trip. As I posted my trip, he came at me. Because obviously, I guess he felt like I'm coming to his city for him. I didn't say anything about meeting this dude, nothing. I took my trip, went all the way up there. He got on his live. I posted a little boomerang on my Instagram saying I was in Southie Boston. The weather was nice. So he gets on his live and sells me out. People start DMing me, of course. I ain't paying attention to nobody's live. People start DMing me and my phone's blowing up. So I'm like, fuck, okay. So I open my phone and they're telling me that he's on live talking about me. So he's on live talking about me, calling me all type of this, that, and the third. I won't pull up on him and I can push an old man and this, that. Because there was an old man at the corner store that called the police on me and pulled a gun. And I pushed him. So that shit, I ain't gonna say it went viral, but it kind of went viral at the time, and he kind of used that as like leverage. Oh, push me like you did this old man.
Right.
And he started posting that, and then he went live while I was in South.
But if someone pulls a gun on me and I just push them, then hey, yeah, I'm pretty crazy.
No, this old, y'all. This old, real.
With a gun in your face.
And let me tell you about that video. He cut the video. He took it from my Instagram, cut the video, and reposted it because I used it as a story post. I didn't post it to my post, so it disappeared in 24 hours, and I left it alone. Because obviously I didn't want that shit up there like that.
Right.
He took that, screen recorded it, cut it, and then posted.
Wow.
And made it look like I just pushed the dude.
Wow.
So obviously you could still see in the video towards the end, you could see him like this with the gun.
So 1090 Jake gives you his address?
So he's on live, and obviously there's like 700-800 people on the live. And he's selling me out, like on some bum shit. Like you know you in opposition. Like you know what I am, I know what you are. Like, why would you even play like that?
And is this gang related at all? Because you guys are from different gangs?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, it absolutely has something to do with politics. Because at the end of the day, you say you from Tampa, Florida, and you did time in Florida prisons. So you know what the politics are like. You know that shit is nothing, no business. My name should never come out your mouth unless you expecting retaliation.
Okay.
And the fight was not set up. Nothing was set up like, hey, I want to fight you. We can go to a gym. We can do this, that, and the third. So, like I said, I was in Southie Boston, and he was selling me out on the live, and he was like, oh, fuck, boy, this, that, and the third. 700-800 people on the live. So, obviously, I pulled up on him. He dropped the address. I got a bunch of people to go on his live and spam drop the address, and he ended up dropping the address. He was more... I ain't gonna take nothing from him.
He lied, Joe.
I ain't gonna take.
You're bluffing like a motherfucker. Man, John said that man bluffing. That nigga with the Boston to fight that boy, man.
As a man, he was out there.
Right.
As a man, he was on his live. The only thing I'm gonna take from him is he was on the main street where all the police are at, this, that, and the third. There's no entrance to the houses there. You have to go around back to the parking lot to enter the houses. So I went around back, parked, and waited for him to walk to the back. When he walked to the back, I told him, nah, don't end your live now. I gave him plenty of chance. He put his hat down, put his phone down, and he squared up with me. I'll give you the video after this, obviously.
Because you never dropped the video, but you dropped a couple screenshots from the video.
I'm going to give you the whole video.
Oh, man.
So
I will look at it and then never do anything with it for the record, but...
All right, cool. So, absolutely. So, I pulled up on him, and that was that. You know, I handled up on him, and...
Was this a fair fight, or were there weapons involved?
There were weapons involved, absolutely.
That's all he got to do.
On my behalf, absolutely.
He got locked up after this video.
Absolutely. There's weapons involved.
They said he got locked up after this video. That's why I'm only watching to see what happened. That's what Byron Blake talking about. After this video, he got booked. After he did this interview with Adam.
On my behalf, when it comes to gang politics, you don't play that shit.
So from your perspective, you weren't interested in a fair fight. That's just not how you get down.
Nah, not at that point. You didn't even ask me for a fair fight at that point. At that point, you went live while I was in your city with 700 people on your live selling me out, saying I won't pull up.
Right.
And
that was the one thing that surprised me about that, is that just the idea of somebody, you know, and shout out to Jake, because I've talked to him, I think he's a cool guy, but the idea of like a gang member waiting for other gang members to fight outside his crib, and he don't got homies with him or a gun.
He has somebody.
He shouldn't have said it was gang related. That was stupid.
somebody on his live saying that speaking on you, and when it do come to that, that's what it comes to. And nothing was set up. Like I said, I was in Boston on a front street. If anybody knows that area, they obviously know what the fuck I'm talking about. I never been to that area a day in my life before that day.
Right.
So
you probably won't ever have to go back to Dorchester either, to be honest with you.
I mean, I got big love from Boston. A lot of people fuck with me from Boston.
We grew up.
No, that is. He said it was gang related. You know, they got a whole gang task force. They can make this a gang related crime. You know, it's enhancements for that. He definitely shouldn't have said it was gang related at all.
Dorchester is like the Compton of New England. Like that's like the worst part in the Boston area.
I never heard of it. You know, I never heard of it until I went there. You know, and when I went there, you know, it's all right. I got big love from the people out there. So, you know, it ain't like there's no pressure out there.
You didn't release the video because you just didn't want to get caught up again?
Like I said, I was on 3 years. I was on 5 years probation, but I just got terminated off the 3 years just so I could fly out here and come on this show.
Wow.
My manager paid the lawyer. We went ahead and did that. The lawyer went and did his thing and got me terminated.
Oh, that's sick. So, did you guys keep beefing after this? Like, how did he approach it after that? I noticed he went on Instagram Live and talked about it with his head bleeding a little bit and shit.
I mean, there really wasn't nothing left to say after that. I mean, you know, I ain't never this the first time I ever told the story a year later. Like,
really?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I was on papers and, you know, I'm not trying to check in like that. That's some stupid shit.
Definitely. So, from your perspective, let's just say same shit was happening. Let's say he happened to be in your neck of the woods and he called you out and said, let's meet up and fight again. Would you, all right, let's do it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, anybody. I mean, nobody puts fear in my heart. Not to say I'm the baddest man ever. Like I said, I'm humble. I don't go out my way starting with nobody, but I'm just the person I am and the way I was raised. Like, I was always taught if somebody applies pressure to you, you got to just apply it twice as hard. It's the only way to deal with it. And that's what I've done my whole life.
Is there a part of you that wants to like not ever do that kind of shit if you can avoid it, just because you know that you're always kind of playing with your freedom?
Absolutely. I got a beautiful family. I got 2 beautiful kids. Absolutely. You know what I mean? I'm not on that stupid shit. You know, everybody be trying to say I'm on. Like I said, I'm humble. The only time I've ever came
I like what Blake was saying. At the time, he probably didn't realize what he was doing, but them people was using 1090 Jake. You fucking with their man. They ain't gonna let you get away with that. They's not letting you get away with that. That's their guy. This man is blowing the lid on the whole Florida penitentiary system. What's up, C? But Diddy defense team slammed lies and search warrants. Check this out. I started watching it earlier. You know, I keep it real with y'all.
The future of your business is here.
I watch we do everything off the rip, but I stopped and I didn't want to watch all of it. So let's see what's going on with Diddy case.
Qualification as if you were a credible witness. Now, Combs' attorneys, they also talk about in this filing about victims 2.
We've got passion, we've got determination. Like, and if we set our sights on something, you better believe it's happening.
High-powered defense attorneys for Sean Diddy Combs are fighting back against the federal government, and in a major way. Actually, so major that if they are successful, this whole case, this whole criminal prosecution could be upended. And that is crazy to think about, considering this trial is right around the corner, May 5th, 2025. But to be more specific, what the defense is asking for right now is to make sure a future jury doesn't see a lot of evidence that it says the government gathered through improper search warrants. And we are hearing all kinds of new bits of information, including who was interviewed, whether they were able to corroborate the claims the government is making. This is a big deal. Now, as you know, Sean Combs, behind bars in New York, facing charges of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking through force, fraud, or coercion, transportation to engage in prostitution, currently locked up at the Metropolitan Detention Center until his trial in May. And we first learned that Combs was likely under investigation when agents with the Department of Homeland Security raided 2 of his houses, one in Los Angeles, the other in Miami. This was back in March of 2024. They brought out boxes and boxes of potential evidence. At the time, Combs hadn't been arrested or charged yet, but just a few months before that, in November of 2023, Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, filed an explosive lawsuit lawsuit claiming Combs abused her mentally, physically, sexually during their tumultuous 10-year relationship. Combs ended up settling that lawsuit just one day after it was filed.
No, yo, I ain't no Diddy fan. I just know he being railroaded. And I don't like the coverage that Law and Crime gives him. Law and Crime coverage on Diddy is very biased. Even with titles like this, it's still biased. And then they play stupid games. So we got to get the truth out there.
An unknown sum of money, but the damage was already done. Ventura's allegations, they were out there in the public. A wave of other civil lawsuits followed. And then in September of 2024, Combs was officially arrested at the Park Hyatt Hotel in New York City. His lawyer said he'd come to New York to turn himself in, but the police arrested him a day early.
If they can do this to somebody as big as Diddy, the fuck is they doing to me and you and, you know, and the average Joe? They lock Coffee up for fake drugs and charge them with real drugs. Like, yo, this federal government is man, they out of control, man. Out of control. You ain't see that live we did yesterday? They lock Coffee up for fake drugs and charge them for real drugs. Like, this is how they operate.
According to authorities, Combs, reportedly being under investigation for criminal behavior, hadn't stopped him from allegedly having drugs in his hotel room. And as I said, Combs has been locked up. He's been denied bond ever since.
You said it's true about the visitation. How does the visitation process work in the feds?
According to Wikipedia, The Fades is a British supernatural drama television series, created and written by Jack Thorne. The 6 episodes were first broadcast on BBC Three and BBC HD beginning September 21, 2011, and on BBC America from January 14, 2012.
Influence who can visit incarcerated individuals, affecting both prisoners and their families. As these policies change, understanding their nuances becomes essential, especially regarding felons seeking visitation rights. This topic is important as it addresses the balance between maintaining security within the facilities and supporting family connection that may aid in rehabilitation. Let's see. Oh, okay, Charlene. So I don't even need to read this. So the inmate has to send it to you to fill it out. Yeah, that makes sense. So you still got to, you can't just pop up on somebody's visitation list. Like, I ain't think I had to even look that up. Thanks, Charlene. So we ain't got to waste no time. Cause that can cause so much problems. You just popping up on somebody's visitation list. Like, I just can't. Common sense tells me that ain't true.
Up a huge bail package worth millions of dollars, but the government argued there was evidence that.
And Charlene, your people's in affairs right now.
Combs was trying to influence, maybe intimidate witnesses, even from behind bars, and having him on house arrest, even with private security, it would be a risk.
Now, I don't need to watch the whole video. I don't need to watch the whole video to know that the man lied. That story was fugazi, bro. That was a fugazi story. Wasn't a real story. He made it all up.
Episode of Sidebars, we continue our coverage of Combs. Now, Upside is great. It is a free app that gets you cash back on daily essentials like gas, groceries, food. I pump my gas, I can use Upside. Go out to lunch at, let's say, Chipotle, I can use Upside. Maybe pick something up at 7-Eleven, I can use Upside. And why not get cash back when I do all these things, right? And yes, this is actual, real cash back. It's money that appears in your Upside app that you transfer right into your bank account. So once you have the free Upside app, you claim an offer.
950 vouch for, 50 share that 1090J got the paperwork. Which is wild that he choose to share 1090 Jake when it's so many people more credible than him.
Leaders found actually goes again. Now, let's talk about what's happening now. His defense team has argued that multiple search warrants used to find potential evidence against him and used to indict him were way too broad and that some of the information investigators found actually goes against their case, that these search warrants were invalid. Okay? And over the weekend, new filings from the defense...
So, Diddy lawyer is saying that these search warrants is invalid. And I think the reason being, I'm explaining it to you once he explained, once they say what they say. But I think the federal government, when they applied for these search warrants, they left out key information that I think the judge should have known about. Now, he don't say it. This is me speculating based off what he's saying and based off the documents, but I'm going to let him continue.
Added to Combs' federal docket, a notice to suppress evidence obtained through search warrants, a memorandum of law to support suppressing certain evidence, and a declaration from one of Combs' attorneys, Tenny Garagos Krishnaswamy, have all been filed. Okay, and that's what we're going to dig into now. What are the arguments here? Because this could have major implications. So what the defense is looking for, according to their notice, is, quote, an order suppressing the evidence and all fruits obtained from the following search warrants. Again, meaning it wouldn't come into evidence. A jury wouldn't see it. The prosecution couldn't use this evidence. A, the January 4th, 2024 warrant to search Mr. Combs' iCloud accounts. B, the March 22nd, 2024 warrant to search his Los Angeles residence and to seize evidence obtained therein. C, the March 22nd, 2024 warrant to search his Miami residence and to seize evidence obtained therein. D, the March 25th, 2024 warrant to search his person and to seize and search 2 of his cellular phones referred to by the government as Combs number 1 and Combs number 2, and to extract information from those phones.
Ever wondered why you should get an LLC?
Yeah, see, I don't really get into that Money Jake situation, yo, because something might happen behind that, and I don't want to be an instigator in between it. I mean, if you notice, I don't even speak on that shit with any city. Like, I don't dig into rappers getting their chains snatched and rappers dissing back and forth. I only do videos when one of them die, yo, because that's the only lesson in it. Or go to prison. That's the only lesson in it. Other than that, you just adding fuel to a fire. I just explained it to you why. You don't understand that? That didn't make sense? 1,500?
And search an additional 2 of his cellular phones referred to by the government as Combs number 3 and Combs number 4, and to extract information from those phones. And F, the September 16th, 2024 warrant to search Combs' room at the Park Hyatt Hotel and to seize evidence obtained therein, or in the alternative, granting.
If 1,500, that didn't make sense to you? You don't understand the explanation? Or fuck it, play the metal, add fuel to the fire, let them crash out. Like, let me know what side you stand on when it comes down to that.
A Frank's hearing. So that is a lot of search warrants covering a lot of ground, covering a lot of potential evidence. And if the search warrants were improperly served, or they are considered to be too broad or heavy-handed, or they contain false information or misleading information,
that's not what I said.
The argument would be that anything...
That's not what I said. I'm saying the reason I stay out of it. Whenever you see me do a video on rappers getting their chain snatched, or a video where rappers dissing each other back and forth. Now, I might do a video if it's somebody like 50 Cent and Rick Ross, but I'm talking about street rappers that still got ties to the streets. Yo, you ain't never see me do no videos on that. Not in Baltimore, not in Las Vegas, not in Atlanta, not in Chicago, not nowhere. I don't do that. This ain't that. I think that shit goofy. Because when somebody dies, then what? What happens when somebody dies? I don't want that on my conscience, y'all. I done been through enough in my real life, in the real streets. You feel me? Like I ain't on that. I think that shit goofy. Now, if you want to call that Hollywood, then hey, I call it being real.
That came from them would be fruit of the poisonous tree, and the prosecution couldn't use it at trial. If that's the case, What would the government have left to support their case other than maybe just witness testimony? That's a question that the defense would love to hear, right? What's left of the government's case? Now, aside from just a automatic suppression of the evidence, one of the other things that the defense is asking for is at least a Franks hearing. Now, that is a specific type of hearing where a defendant can challenge the validity of search warrants. In fact, as cited in this filing.
Well, that now, let me say this, right? I don't think when they petition for these warrants, I don't think they mentioned that Cassie, who was in a relationship for 9 years with Diddy, was the subject of this investigation, or was the reason why this investigation started. Because I think that would make a huge difference. If you go to the judge and be like, look, we think this guy's sex trafficking victim 1 or whatever the fuck they called him, and leave out that this is a person that he been in a relationship with 9 years, that changed the whole dynamic of the situation. And I think that's what his defense team is talking about. I think his defense team didn't mention that. I mean, the prosecution didn't mention that. Wouldn't you think that a judge would look at that kind of different? Do y'all think a judge would view that different? If they got the whole information, we think Diddy is sex trafficking Cassie, who we presented to the world that they've been in a relationship with for 9 years. But we think they sex trafficking Cassie, as opposed to we think Diddy is sex trafficking victim 1. And we got these videos that this person showed us without mentioning their relationship. I think that's what they're talking about. And I think that is dirty. And I can see the prosecution doing something like that. Because that's misleading. Because that, to me, and I think to a judge, that changes the whole dynamic of the situation. Right. I think, right, damn near his wife. I think that changed the whole dynamic of the situation. And I think that's what Diddy defense team is saying. Y'all left that out. How do y'all subpoena a warrant, or how do y'all go to the judge and leave that out? I think that's what they did, man.
Under Franks v. Delaware, if a statement of probable cause contains material false or misleading statements or omissions.
You see what I'm saying? And this is why. If a statement of probable cause contains material false or misleading statements or omissions, then the warrant is invalid. And any evidence obtained pursuant to the warrant must be suppressed. I think they left that out, y'all. I don't think they notified the judge of that. And if they did do that, that was intentional. Because I don't know if they could have really got a warrant if they would have mentioned that, yo, this is a girl that we all know, that he showcased to the world, that this was his girlfriend for 9 years. I think that changes the whole dynamic of the indictment if they was to notify the judge of that initially.
The warrant is invalid, and any evidence obtained pursuant to the warrant must be suppressed. So the defense is saying that the prosecution was disingenuous. And while we do get a few clues as to what evidence or testimony the prosecution might have,
I'm not just, of course not legally. I'm just saying, if you go to the judge with a warrant, like I was saying, like I was explaining, and say, look, we think Sean Diddy Combs is involved in sex trafficking. And this is the reason why. You know, it's only one victim. They did all of this with one victim. Fuck all the fake ass lawsuits. One victim. But if you don't mention that victim is the girl that he been with for 9 years, I can see how that's misleading. And under this information is how they obtain these warrants. I can see why Diddy legal team is saying, yo, y'all lied to get these warrants. Y'all didn't keep it real to get these warrants. No, come on, Brian. It's Cassie. If you read the indictment and then you read her lawsuit, it's the same wording. It's the same. Everything is the same. It's Cassie. Victim number one is Cassie. This whole case is about Cassie. Now, they're supposed to have another victim, but that girl is the girl that put out a whole statement defending Diddy. Yo, this prosecution is flawed, man. I've been saying it since the beginning, and it's starting to come to light. The lawsuits, the 100-something lawsuits, they already get thrown out. Every lawsuit that Tony Busby filed is ready to get thrown out. He wasn't even licensed to practice law in the Southern District of New York. But the problem is that the damage is already done. No, Cass ain't say nothing about banning sex trafficking. Yo, I don't think Cassie's even on board with this like that. Like, Cassie wanted money. I don't think Cassie wanted this. Yo, this is not, this investigation isn't coming from Cassie, yo. This investigation is coming from that fucking liquor company, allegedly. The liquor company did this to Diddy, man. Yo, I always say this because it's important. Yo, we have never seen a time where a person paid out a lawsuit and then got charged for it. Yo, that has never happened, y'all. Ever. Since I can remember. Typically what happens is the person gets tried criminally, and then that's when the lawsuits come. No, that's not what happened with Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby got charged first. You get charged first, then the lawsuits. You do not typically, because why are you paying the lawsuit? I know, this is what I'm saying though. Why am I going to pay you if they're going to charge me? That defeats the purpose. People don't pay lawsuits, then get charged. No, hell no, that's not how that situation works. It's not how that works. Even with Cosby. Cosby got charged, then the lawsuits came. I know everybody want Diddy to be guilty, y'all. Diddy probably is guilty. Diddy is probably guilty of being a horrible person. Diddy is guilty of being a fucking freak. Diddy is guilty of quid pro quo. Yo, but Diddy ain't guilty of sex trafficking Cassie. The man ain't sex trafficked the woman, man. Listen to when you in one of them motions that we read, Diddy defense team was talking about how in the videos came from Cassie. Cassie was holding videos. But the problem is when Diddy was holding videos, everybody called it leverage. Cassie was holding videos too. What the fuck was she holding videos for? People want to call it evidence, but I call it leverage. If Diddy was holding videos for leverage, then Cassie was holding videos for the same fucking purpose. For the same purpose. It was all leverage. Cassie gave these videos to the prosecution. Diddy defense team get the videos, and they say what it looks like, yeah, insurance policy. Cassie having more fun than Diddy in the videos that they seen. But Diddy is on trial facing life in prison for being a freak. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, you can argue that, this is the chickens coming home to roost. I can't have no argument with that. Diddy done did people bad. Now they doing him bad. I can't dispute that. But to say this man deserved life in prison, fuck no. He don't deserve no, not for this. He probably done things he deserved life in prison for, but not for this. This is just him being a freak with his girlfriends. Because he only did this with his girlfriends. He didn't do this with everybody. This is not something that he did with the whole industry. Because I read the documents, 1500. Come on, 1500. You from Baltimore, you trolling, bro. Where we start doing that? When we start trolling from Baltimore, bro.
Here a lot of the information in the defense's filing is redacted out. It is completely blacked out. We can't see it. It is unavailable to the public. But we're kind of reading between the lines here. So the notice of motion to suppress reads, the government has a duty of candor when it seeks warrants. The nature of the proceeding mandates secrecy, so the process is not adversarial. Precisely for that reason, investigators have an obligation to present a fair picture of the evidence, including both inculpatory and exculpatory facts.
Because I read the lawsuits. I read the documents. It is common sense what's going on, y'all. Like I said, give me a situation where a person paid the lawsuit and then got charged for the same fucking things in the lawsuit. That doesn't happen, y'all. I don't know why the lawyer quit. Maybe his voice wasn't being heard. He got 5 lawyers. I don't think that's really a big issue. I don't think that's a big issue at all. Real, you already paid me $20. You're going to be paying me another $20. So you need to sit back and listen because you already been wrong once.
Evidence is basically evidence that is favorable to the defense. The government in this case utterly failed to do so. It sought several warrants to search Mr. Combs' residences, his electronic devices, and his person, and it presented a grossly distorted picture of the facts. It included only inculpatory facts.
Listen to him.
It's not a thing.
Listen to him. Listen to how the government got these warrants. More dirty tactics by the government.
It utterly failed to do so. It sought several warrants to search Mr. Combs' residences, his electronic devices, and his person, and it presented a grossly distorted picture of the facts. It included only inculpatory facts, and it excluded critical exculpatory evidence that was indisputably in its possession at the time. The government claimed victims were coerced into sex, but it failed to inform the magistrate that, and then there are lines that are redacted, but it goes on to say,
yo, but you see in the videos that they got and that the defense looked at, nobody was coerced into anything. Listen to this shit, y'all.
The warrants themselves were also grossly overbroad. On a theory that Mr. Combs' entire life was a criminal enterprise, the government sought virtually all limitless authority to seize any evidence related to that enterprise, all his digital devices, and the information they contained. All information in his iCloud accounts, plus troves of records and items in his houses, almost none of which was contraband. By the way, interesting they say almost none of which was contraband. Does that indicate that there was some stuff found that could be considered to be contraband?
Look at him.
They go on to say that perhaps the thing that's most troubling is the government received essentially limitless authority to search Mr. Combs' digital devices, which contained a vast trove of personal information. The Supreme Court and Second Circuit have repeatedly warned that it is essentially important that digital device searches must be limited and particularized. The warrants here were not. The warrants were thus unconstitutional general warrants, and the evidence obtained through those warrants must be suppressed. So from there, the defense then provides a timeline.
It could be a multitude of reasons why the lawyer quit. Like that ain't common sense. It could be a multitude of reasons why the lawyer quit. It's common sense what's going on with Diddy because, like I told you, give me a situation. Give me a time where people paid for a lawsuit and then got charged. This is not about justice for Cassio. This is about Diddy crossing the line, business-wise. This was a business decision. You played with us, now we're going to play with you. We're going to show you how strong our fucking arms are. That's what this is. All right, Will. Let me send you on your way. Because I ain't know that's how we operate in Baltimore, my nigga. You on goofy time, champ. Not you, Real. The other Real. That's supposed to be from Baltimore. It's on clown time.
The warrants were served. It says on January 4th, 2024, so this is before the raids on Combs' homes and obviously months and months before he was ultimately arrested, the government requested a warrant to obtain all the information on Sean Combs' iCloud accounts according to his attorneys. And then the warrants were served on his 2 homes in March of 2024, followed by an additional search warrant for Combs' person and 2 of his cell phones. I mentioned before there's a lot of redaction in this filing, so we don't know exactly what the government found or what witnesses told them, but the defense is making 2 main arguments. 1, the government's warrant applications contained intentionally or recklessly deceptive statements and omissions.
See what I'm saying? Yo, I swear, yo, I think they failed to mention the Cassie, who she was. I think that's important. I told you the liquor company, bro. This is about the liquor company. Diddy sued the liquor company and the liquor company came down on him. That's what this is over. You ain't familiar with that, real? You know everything else? You gotta be familiar with that. All this is over the suing of the liquor company, man. Allegedly. My bad. Allegedly.
And the warrants were unconstitutionally broad. Both arguments, the warrants are
Yes, the
invalid.
fuck they can, real. What do you talk, real? Do we gotta do this again? Yes, the fuck they can. When you talking about a company that's worth $51 billion, yes, they can. It's people over top the government, y'all. You know these people take donations. When you pay, yo, when you pay, this is all alleged. Yo, when you pay into a government official, they owe you, man. This is how this country works. This is how this country works. Why do you think they take? Why do you think so many get in trouble for taking payment? You know, giving government contracts. You take this. We give you 100,000. You give me this contract. If I donate $2 million to your campaign, Jay Prince beat 2 indictments by donating to Al Gore. It's in documents. He donated $1 million to Al Gore church. Indictment. Whole criminal investigation is halted. What do you mean, y'all? Like these people look what they just did to Donald Trump. It's people over top of the federal government, y'all. It's people that can make them move, man. I'm not moving the goalposts. This is what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying. I told you this before. There's people over top of the government. And when you talking about a company that's worth 50-something billion, you don't think favors are old? You don't think they can make a phone call? Come on, y'all. We keep it real over here, my nigga. It's not an honest system, man. This system take payment, my nigga.
First argument that the warrant applications had deceptive statements or omissions. The filing states, the duty to include critical exculpatory evidence, again, meaning evidence that's favorable to a defendant, tends to show that they didn't commit the crime, includes a duty to reveal information that undermines the credibility of a confidential informant or other witness. When
Look,
the government
that's what I'm saying. They didn't mention that was his girl. The duty to include crucial exculpatory evidence includes a duty to reveal information that undermines the credibility of a confidential informant or other witness. When the government relies on witnesses' statements rather than investigators' own observation, their credibility is plainly relevant, even critical to the probable cause determination. Yo, they didn't tell her. They didn't tell the judge that was his girl, man. I don't see how you don't understand that. No, yo. It ain't real. Listen, yo, real, just sit back and listen, yo. You don't understand how this shit go. Obviously you don't understand how this goes. So just listen, yo. Learn. So I think you know everything. That's how you jumped out there last time.
relies on witness statements rather than an investigator's own observations, their credibility is plainly relevant, even critical to the probable cause determination. The government made false statements and omitted critical exculpatory evidence in its warrants applications in this case. This omitted evidence was in the government's possession at the time it sought the warrants. The omissions were intentional, or at the very least, reckless. So, for example, the defense indicates that exculpatory evidence that the government
pay me
had
my
in its
$20,
possession
man.
was proof that sexual activity here was consensual. But again, they argued that this was hidden in the warrant
It's
application.
amazing.
They go on to
It's
say,
amazing
quote,
how you jumped out there and was wrong, and you still challenging me. you jumped out there last time, was dead wrong, had to pay me, and you still challenging me. Real, pay me my $20 when that man get found not guilty.
allegation in the warrant applications, and indeed the government's entire case, is that Combs forced victim 1 to participate in FOs. Okay, so victim 1 has never been officially identified, but based on context of the entire case, is that Combs...
The core allegation in the warrant application, and indeed the government's entire case, is that Combs forced victim 1 to participate in FOs. I'm telling y'all, what it sounds like is they didn't mention that was this girl, man. And you see how that can be misleading? If they failed to mention that was this girl and just called her victim 1 performed in freak offs, that is very misleading to a judge. Because you don't necessarily have to force your girl that you've been with for 9 years to perform in freak offs. Like, that's not something that you had to force. But a random person, like it sounds like that's what the defense is alluding to, that's what they told the judge, like this is just a random girl. I could see a judge writing a warrant for that.
Combs forced victim 1 to participate in FOs. Okay, so victim 1 has never been officially identified, but based on contect clues and various filings...
No time. You paid because we had a bet. We had a bet that the case is getting thrown out, and that's what happened. The fuck, we want no time limit. We had a bet that the 13-year-old watch. I guarantee you. You don't remember none of this? Real. You don't remember. You sit here telling me you guarantee the case ain't getting thrown out. Then why would they file a case if it's not real? You don't remember none of that? Because I remember it fucking verbatim. These was your words, not mine. Why would they file a case if it's not real? Why would the judge take the case? These was your questions. One of your questions, or am I mischaracterizing what you said? Because I remember those was your exact questions. And I was saying, because they do that sometimes. And what did I say it was? I said it was getting thrown out. And who won the bet? You said it wasn't. I said it was. What happened? What you said it wasn't getting thrown out. I said it was getting thrown out. All right, then, y'all. So stop acting like I don't know what I'm talking about, then, my brother.
Far in this case, we believe victim 1 is Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura. FO, by the way, stands for freak off or freak offs, which is apparently what Combs called group sex sessions that were sometimes filmed, allegedly involved large amounts of things like baby oil, drugs, according to prosecutors. And in a recent filing, Combs' attorneys seemed to suggest that, he did hire male escorts to participate in group sex, but that everything was on the up and up, everything was consensual. Although I will say in a superseding indictment, the prosecution amended their claims a little bit, acknowledging that Combs could have committed crimes like sex trafficking in events that were not necessarily considered or fit the definition of freak-offs, but they were more generalized commercial sex acts.
I know where it is. Somebody got knocked out behind that 4-4 week shit. I have heard that. Yeah, man. That shit just didn't end like that, and that video ain't get uploaded to Instagram.
Where something of value was promised or exchanged, or there were commercial sex workers. But going back to the filing, it reads, quote, when it sought the warrants to search Mr. Combs' residences, the government had already obtained one device from victim 1 that contained, and then there's a large section that's blacked out, but that is so important. So if you take everything is true from this filing, and based on prior history in this case, a fair argument could be that victim 1 is what started this whole prosecution against Sean Combs. Victim 1.
Wow. Did that? Is that breaking news? The fuck I've been saying that shit since day one. like yo, these niggas is crazy. Look, real. They just came to this conclusion. We've been saying that since the beginning of the fucking he first got booked. We've been saying that this whole video.
1 allegedly turning over material and speaking with authorities. It has been reported in prior filings that victim 1 perhaps had sex tapes that she turned over to the government. So that could be what they're talking about.
It's not no perhaps. It's not perhaps. It's in documents that she turned over 9 tapes to the government. The fuck is you talking about? Perhaps. This nigga crazy. Yo said perhaps. He always using wild ass words.
Prior history in this case. A fair argument could be that victim 1 is what started this whole prosecution against Sean Combs. Victim 1 allegedly turning over material and speaking with authorities. It has been reported in prior filings that victim 1 perhaps had sex tapes that she turned over to the government. So that could be what they're talking about here. And the defense claims that victim 1 had a huge financial incentive to make Combs look bad so that she could get a massive settlement. But that information.
That's important too. That is important as well. That wasn't mentioned in the arrest warrant or the warrant to lock up Diddy. Like, how do you leave these things out? That's important, man.
Information, according to the defense, wasn't included as part of the search warrant application.
That's important.
Which they say hides significant context surrounding her claims.
See?
The filing continues.
I'm telling you, yo, they didn't tell the judge that this man was in a relationship with this girl for 9 years, y'all. That's major. Now, is this enough to get the case overturned and the evidence thrown out? No, it ain't. It should be, but I doubt it. I doubt it. Because they want to see this to trial. So they're going to let shit go through, just, you know, they can see it through trial. But this should be enough, but it ain't.
The time it obtained the warrants to search Mr. Combs' residences, the government had also already obtained redacted. Once again, these redacted contradict the government's claims that the FOs were coerced. One of the claims.
Make
so
your
if
New
you
Year's
remember, his
resolution
defense
a
team,
reality. Start your degree
his
with
defense team said, how did y'all look at these videos and come to the determination that this was sex trafficking when she having more fun than him? She was the aggressor in a lot of these videos. That's what they saying to the judge.
FOs or freak-offs is that Combs used drugs to keep those involved in the sexual performances compliant. There were even claims that following these intense sex sessions, Combs and others would sometimes require an IV drip to help them recover from exhaustion as well as drugs that they'd taken. But Combs' defense team makes the argument that there was, quote, important evidence that wasn't revealed that shows the context of Combs' relationship with victim 1. And, quote,
like, if you're being trafficked, I don't think you have fun doing that. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't think people's being trafficked or doing this shit and being the aggressor in the situation and having the time of their life. I mean, maybe I could be wrong. Maybe you know more than me about it. I don't know. But I would assume that that's not something you enjoy.
Kind of thing that any magistrate judge would wish to know when reviewing a warrant application in a sex trafficking case. Yet the warrant applications contain not even a hint of them. They didn't even inform the magistrate judge that this evidence existed. And then the defense argues that this was, quote, intentionally misleading. So, for example, according to the defense, quote, the government hid evidence that Combs at times discouraged redacted from using so many drugs. So that seems to suggest that Combs had tried to stop someone, maybe victim 1, from using drugs so heavily, but that it was this person's own decision to do so. By the way, even if this motion isn't successful,
really, that's a good point.
What to expect?
but Bob said was a good point. Like, you questioning me, but I've been proven right. You ain't been proven right yet. So you need to listen.
Fact from Sean Combs' potential defenses at trial, right? We're kind of getting a preview of that. But the filing continues, quote, finally, the warrant applications contain no mention of victim 1's financial motive to exaggerate and falsify. As the government knew, and then you have a huge amount of redactions there, and then it ends, thus provided an unusually strong motive to fabricate years after the underlying events. Then you have another redacted line, and the memo continues. Years after her relationship, she changed her story in a way that would cause maximum potential damage to Combs and thus give him maximum incentive to agree to a large payment. This is exactly the sort of evidence that goes directly to the credibility of the witness whose story provided the core.
Yeah, that's. We ain't heard nothing about sex trafficking the whole 9 years they was together. Now they ain't together no more. Now she's being sex trafficked. The judge didn't know who the girl was, man. That is key information that the judge should have known about. But like I said, he's not going to rule against them. I mean, he's not going to rule in favor of the defense. Nah, that ain't going to happen. Because if he was to rule in favor of the defense, the case would be thrown out immediately. Because they don't have any more evidence.
Of the government's applications. And the defense claims that the prosecution's alleged lies and other omissions pertain to other government witnesses as well, which, by the way, is huge because we are literally in the dark for the most part about who authorities spoke to as part of this criminal case or who may be called as a witness at trial. So much is redacted or filed under seal, but here the defense claims that the government has refused to provide them with the names of people who are anonymous in the warrants, but we are getting a lot more information because according to the filing, the government relied on information from Sex Worker 1, but Sex Worker 1 has also given the government exculpatory information, none of which was included in the warrant applications. And then there's a mention of Assistant 1. So Assistant 1's claims are also called into question by the defense claiming that the government cherry-picked some of this person's statements out of context to use in their warrant applications.
All this is dirty, y'all. This is all dirty tactics. Like, you can't pick and choose what information you give. You give it all, you give none. So they picking and choosing. They talking to these witnesses, and they're picking and choosing what to tell the judge. But the problem is that the defense talked to these witnesses as well. That's the issue. The defense talked to these same witnesses as well. I don't think I flip-flopped not one time. I don't know what you're talking about.
There is some bombshell news about someone referred to as Producer 1. Now, we believe, we can't confirm it, but we believe there is an argument that Producer 1 is Rodney Lil Rod Jones, a music producer who filed a lawsuit against Sean Combs in early 2024. He claimed that not only was he not paid for the work that he did on the Love album, but that Combs used his influence to intimidate him into doing things like hiring sex workers. And Jones also alleges in his lawsuit that he was present for multiple episodes of abuse and violence that Combs allegedly inflicted on others. He even claims that Combs forced himself on him, groping him, insisting that Jones be present when he was naked or showering. But the motion to suppress states, quote, some of the most salacious allegations recounted in the warrant application came from Producer 1, who the government now says it will not even call to testify at trial. The investigator indicated.
So they used this person, who people think is Lil Rod, to get a warrant, and they're not even calling this person to testify. Gee, me Christmas. What the fuck do you call this? Yo, this is a malicious prosecution, man. It's malicious. Everything about it says malicious. Everything about it says they moving under the direction of somebody. Real? Why would they do this? How can they do this? How can you get a warrant based off somebody's statements and then not bring that same person to testify? How is that even a thing? See, but this is the things, this is stuff you hear over here that you ain't gonna hear on other channels.
Indicated he had interviewed Producer 1, and Producer 1 had relayed stories about his time working for Combs. Now, the exact details of what Producer 1 told this investigator is redacted, but the defense goes on to say these accusations were never credible. They were uncorroborated.
We know what he told him. All you gotta do is go to his lawsuit. The same shit that was in the lawsuit is what the fuck he told them people. We put a Lil Rod lawsuit. Somebody got shot in the bathroom. He did this. It was drug selling. We know what he said.
Operated, redacted, and the government had boatloads of contrary evidence, including redacted. The government eventually dropped these allegations in later warrants, but their lack of credibility was manifest from the outset. And the defense claims that Producer 1 had financial incentive to lie or embellish, which could be evidenced by Jones' lawsuit if he is indeed Producer 1. And according to the defense, the prosecution revealed it doesn't even plan to have this person take the stand anymore. According to the filing, the government has advised us it will not call Producer 1 as a witness at Combs' trial. Presumably that is because his stories are fantastical and he lacks any credibility, but his lack of credibility was equally apparent in March 2024 when the raids happened on Combs' properties. Now, Jones filed, by the way, his original complaint in February of 2024 and amended it the next month, so that time frame is very interesting considering what's being talked about here. But the defense claims the investigator simply relayed producer one's claims without qualification as if he were a credible witness. Now, Combs' attorneys, they also talk about in this filing about victims 2, 3, and 4. Now, I believe this is the first time we have heard about a fourth victim officially, by the way, because in the superseding indictment, there were victims 1, 2, and 3. So I think this is kind of interesting. I mean, all they mention about victim 4 here in this filing is, because so much is redacted, they say the warrant applications included allegations that victim 4 and the government made no effort to corroborate victim 4's claims. And the defense says if the government had then, it would have obtained evidence contradicting her account. So don't know if victim 4 is even a part of this case still, but again, really interesting. And then the defense mentions in this filing designer 1. Now, most of the information about these accounts is redacted, but the defense alleges that the government took the word of these people at face value and didn't really corroborate them before including their testimony in search warrant applications. And we believe, again, not 100% sure, but we believe designer 1 could be connected to one of 3 people. Crystal McKinney, a former model who claims that she attended a dinner with a designer and Sean Combs, after which Combs allegedly forced her to perform oral sex on him. April Lampros, a fashion school student who wanted Combs to be her mentor, but instead claims he sexually assaulted her multiple times. Or Brianna Bana Bangolian, a fashion designer who sued Combs last year for allegedly dangling her off a 17-story balcony when she was apparently staying with Cassie Ventura. And she claims Ventura had to step in to stop it. Now, the defense alleges that the government used the innate fear surrounding crimes like sex trafficking to play up their accusations. Sex trafficking, like child pornography, is...
Diddy probably did do that. He probably did dangle off a motherfucking building. I could see Diddy doing that.
So repulsive a crime that those entrusted to root it out may, in their zeal, be tempted to bend or even break the rules. When government investigators cheat to obtain warrants, they endanger the freedom of us all. In cases like this, it is essential that courts enforce the requirements of the Fourth Amendment, both to protect the individual defendant's rights and also to deter this sort of government conduct. And the defense claims that if the prosecutors had included the whole truth in their applications, there wouldn't have been probable cause for a search warrant as required by the Fourth Amendment. The defense states, in its zeal to prosecute a famous target, it rushed ahead and violated the law. It submitted an egregiously false and misleading summary of the evidence, thus denying the neutral and disinterested magistrate the opportunity to independently determine whether probable cause existed based on a fair and truthful summary of the evidence. It presented only inculpatory evidence, and it hid all exculpatory evidence. The warrants themselves were also unconstitutionally broad. The charges here reflect an extraordinary legal theory that Mr. Combs is himself an enterprise, and that his businesses, his household, his personal relationships, and his sex life are all part of a criminal conspiracy. That broad theory is alleged in the indictment and reflected in the warrants. The government essentially took the position that everything about his life is possible evidence of a crime. And the defense then lists some of the items and information obtained as a result of these warrants, and it covers a lot. So the motion to suppress reads, the government sought warrants in this case that gave it the unfettered ability to search Mr. Combs' residences, his digital devices, and his iCloud accounts. The government's list of items to be seized from his houses was pages long, and it is stunning in its breadth. The government claimed the right to seize, among other things, evidence of Mr. Combs' location or anything reflecting the location of any co-conspirator or witness, which, according to the government, seems to mean anyone who ever worked for Combs or went to a party, utility bills, mail correspondence, address books, all calendars or scheduling information.
Yo, that's not how you can't do that, yo. It's like, yo, they just took anything. Like, yo, when you hey, yo, when the judge, I showed y'all my warrant paperwork before. When you file a warrant, right? And you file a warrant, you're coming there for specific things. Like the warrant's supposed to be specific. We're rating these residents for this cell phone. We're rating this residence for this computer. We're rating this residence for this gun, this knife, these clothes, this hat, those socks. Yo, you can't just raid somebody's house and just take everything. Like, yo, that is not how this process works, man. But that's what that's what his defense team is saying that the United States government did. What the fuck? Why do you have this? Let's look at this stuff they took. Look at the stuff they took. Hold up. Location of anything reflecting the location of any of the co-conspirators or witnesses, which according to the government seems to mean anyone who ever worked for Combs or went to a party. Utility bills, mail, correspondence, address books, all calendars or scheduling information, including travel records, all financial records, including bank statements and credit cards and card statements, plus cash, property deeds, titles, or anything related to property ownership, plus any evidence relating to online financial. Like, yo, come on, y'all. What the fuck is that? What is that? That's not how that works. That's not how warrants are supposed to be written up. The following information is provided to assist you further requests. Yeah, that's not how that's supposed to go, y'all. That sounds like a whole bunch of bullshit. I'm trying to show y'all when they raided my house what they was looking for. I think I showed y'all before, but it's specific. Like you can't just get a warrant to go in somebody's residence and just take anything you want. Like, nah, yo, they ain't supposed to do that. Exactly. Thank you, going up. It's not how they supposed to do that, man.
Financial records, including bank statements and credit card statements, plus all cash, property deeds, or titles, or any.
Is what going up 721 said. And each item need a probable cause attached. Exactly. It don't seem like they did that. Like, why you need all his calendars and scheduling information, or his address books, utility bills? What do you need? Like, why are you taking that?
Anything related to property ownership?
It's like they tried to build the investigation through raiding his home instead of already having an investigation going. And then a house raid was supposed to just, that supposed to have been a cherry on top. That's typically how it goes. There's already an investigation going, and we're gonna raid his house because we're looking for these things. No, it looks like they tried to build an investigation through raiding his homes. That's what they did.
Plus any evidence relating to online financial accounts, any sex toys, sexually suggestive clothing, whatever that means, plus any medical supplies or other materials possibly related to sex, plus any bodily fluid or other material that might contain DNA evidence, any communication or record of communication with any former sexual partner or employee of the Combs business, plus any communication related to the charged offenses, which was, as noted, defined incredibly broadly, with any possible victim, co-conspirators, or witnesses, corporate records, including corporate organizational and ownership documents and employment records,
they may have just took the house.
Device that might contain evidence, including...
Hey, yo, they was better off just taking a house. Look, Diddy, we taking all these houses and we just gonna use this shit for evidence. God damn, they took everything except for the fucking dub and the gate.
iPhones, computers, iPads, and cameras. That's very broad. Now, as part of its argument, the defense cites the case of United States v. Way, which addresses the concept of broad warrants. Quote, at bottom, the warrants in Way violated the Fourth Amendment because they authorized the seizure of sweeping categories of materials and lacked any practical tool to guide the searching agents in distinguishing meaningfully between materials of potential evidentiary value and those obviously devoid of it. The same is true here. Indeed, the warrants here are even more infirm. Whereas the warrants in Way authorized unbounded searches of the defendant's business affairs, the warrants here authorized unbounded search of Mr. Combs' business and personal affairs. The warrants here allowed the very sort of general exploratory rummaging in a person's belongings that the Fourth Amendment forbids. Nor can the government evade the Fourth Amendment's limits simply by stating that Mr. Combs was himself a sort of criminal racketeering enterprise, and therefore all evidence of his business and personal life was relevant evidence of a crime. If such a rhetorical trick were allowed, the Fourth Amendment would lose all meaning. And they even reference a case from England way back in the late 1600s that said, Lord Chief Justice Holt once famously challenged a prosecutor, "Hold, what are you doing now? Are you going to arraign his whole life?" And the defense argues that is exactly what the government did here. It charged Mr. Combs' whole life as a racketeering enterprise, and then it obtained warrants to search his whole life. The iCloud warrant, the warrants to search his houses, the cell phone warrants, and the Park Hyatt warrant were individually and collectively exactly the sort of general warrants that the Fourth Amendment sought to prohibit. And at the end of the document, the defense again states their intention to seek suppression of the evidence, or at least a Franks hearing, so that the court can hash out the information that might have been obtained unconstitutionally. Now, as part of the filing, one of Combs' attorneys, Tenny Garagos Krishnaswamy, also included a declaration under penalty of perjury that she herself had looked into these claims on Combs' behalf and swore that the paperwork was true and accurate. And in it, the attorney provides a little more information. For example, it says, following the government's disclosure of the warrants to counsel on October 7, 2024, I learned that on or about December 15, 2023, victim 1, and the rest is redacted, and it would likely be safe to assume that the defense is referring to some sort of interview or meeting between victim 1, again, maybe Ventura, and law enforcement, where she reportedly turned over electronics that contained information about her relationship with Sean Combs. And that date, December 15th, 2023, would be after Cassandra Ventura filed her bombshell lawsuit against Sean Combs. So did she go to them with this new information, or did the government approach her after seeing her allegations? That part remains unclear. But this attorney continues in her declaration to state, I have since learned that those devices included an iPad and a MacBook Air, which both Combs and victim 1 used, and 3 iPhones. The government has been unable to extract the iPad. By the way, little side note, Sean Combs' team in the past, his defense team in the past, has argued that the claim that Combs maintained, let's say, sex tapes or...
When they raided my house, they was looking for a .38 handgun and ammunition. That's what they was raiding for. Like, you gotta be specific. Like, you can't just go in a motherfucker house and just take anything. This what they took out my house. A Motorola charger and residency papers. Like, that's not how that situation works. Look, property to be seized as named in the search warrant, handgun, ammunition, probably actually seized, next telephone and power cord, MVA cards as residencies. I don't know. Probably to go into my phone that I had on me. Second card. Yeah. Like, you can't just raid a motherfucker house and just take anything. Like, no, that's bullshit.
What's up, Charles? To blackmail or intimidate victim 1 to do what he wanted. That it is belied by the fact that victim 1 had this material already. So it's an interesting argument that may come out at trial. Anyway, coming back to the declaration here, Combs' attorney continues. After the government received redacted from the devices possessed by victim 1, the government obtained a search warrant to search Combs' iCloud accounts. This account also contained additional messages between Combs and other alleged victims, as well as witnesses. The government also obtained messages through other means, such as the message attached as Exhibit 28, which came from Assistant 1's device. Thus, by the time it sought additional search warrants in March of 2024, the government already possessed a large amount of relevant evidence, including the FO videos and the messages described above. So the defense wants to know why authorities of the government needed these broad search warrants for Combs' devices and accounts when they apparently already had the evidence they needed. So it's an interesting filing and development in the Sean Combs case. We will see what the response will be from the prosecution, and also maybe an order from the judge. Will there be a Franks hearing? Will there be a suppression of evidence? We'll see. But that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much for joining.
They were trying to build the case. Like, this whole Diddy prosecution is flawed, man. I know everybody don't like Diddy, but I'm telling you, he's gonna beat that case. At least if he don't beat the whole case, he definitely gonna beat the sex trafficking part. That man wasn't involved in sex trafficking.
With new calls for accountability in the Frisco Police Department.
Yeah, tonight WFAA has obtained.
Hold up. Yo, did y'all hear? You know them all? Remember we did that video? Nine officers charged. Get the fuck out of here. Remember we did that video on the officers beating up the dude? I think it's 11 of them now. 9 guards. Robert Brooks. Y'all remember that? Court hearing. I think it's 11 of them right now charged. I ain't trying to go to the court hearing. It's getting late, but I'm gonna watch that another day. Y'all remember this video?
One sandwich that says, "This guy appreciates wild."
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. What they did sounds illegal, but the judge not gonna he gonna disregard that motion. That motion ain't gonna get where they wanted to go because they want Diddy in trial. So if they gotta deal with a little bit of legal shit in the process, they'll deal with it.
New prison in upstate New York, authorities say within
Y'all
half an
remember this
hour
video?
of arriving there, the inmate was clinically dead. Tonight, hear the disturbing police video, and now 9 former corrections officers are charged. Here's Stephanie Ramos.
Tonight, multiple corrections officers seen in this disturbing body camera video beating Robert Brooks at a New York State prison, now charged in his death. Brooks had just been transferred to the Marcy Correctional Facility near Utica.
About a half an hour later, he was clinically dead.
6 former officers charged with murder, all 6 plus 3 others charged with manslaughter.
Remember they was laughing and shit? Y'all remember that video? Y'all remember that laugh? They thought that shit was funny.
Last December, the officers seen choking, punching, and kicking the 43-year-old in the face, torso, and genitals.
I think any sentient human being looking at the tapes naturally comes to the conclusion that he must have said something. He must have spit at the officers. He must have resisted in some way. And the fact of the matter is, he did absolutely nothing.
An autopsy finding Brooks died from homicide caused by asphyxia due to neck compression and multiple blunt force injuries. Tonight, Brooks's family calling the charges a step toward accountability.
These men murdered my father. It was on video. These men need to be prosecuted and convicted of the crimes they made.
Brooks had been serving a 12-year prison sentence for assault.
Definitely ain't funny no more. Definitely ain't funny no more. And everybody told, man, I kind of want to go to this hearing. But we ain't going to watch too much of it because it's getting late. And I gotta get in the bed. I can't be up real late. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you can, donate to the platform. Cash App, Baltimore swag, man. If you enjoyed the show, man, hit Cash App, man.
Moderate to severe opioid.
I want to see what happened.
Officer, would you do me a favor and pass that over to Mr. Safranco as well?
I want to hear what the judge tell him. His dumbass in cuffs?
Yes, you may.
Yeah, he in cuffs. I think they gave him bails though, y'all. Yeah, they beat the shit out that dude, man. That shit was horrible, man. That's probably one of the worst beatings I ever seen in my fucking life. By a correctional officer.
What is that? Full court? Exactly. Return to court. Some things I want to make sure you understand. First, you do have a right to be present at all stages of proceedings in your case. But if for some reason you did not come back to court as required, then a warrant would be issued for your arrest. The bail you're posting by way of this bond, that would be forfeited and lost. You would then face a new felony charge, and that's known as bail jumping.
It going up. You seen that video? I can't say this happen every day. You seen it? You're like this don't happen every day. I know what you're talking about. They be beating niggas. They be hiding people. I get real. But I don't think this beating that they did to yo happens every day.
Means you could be tried in your absence and if convicted, sentenced in your absence as well. You understand? Yes. Have received now a document entitled Parker Warning, outlining the warnings that I just gave you in writing. You signed this document here as well after reviewing it with your attorney. Is that right? Yes. Court is signing and approving the bail bond.
You heard the family, they gas.
The county returned an indictment against you. You are charged with one count of the felony offense of manslaughter in the second degree. On this charge, you're entitled to the assistance of counsel at this and all stages of proceedings. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided to you.
Feel like he want to cry.
It's Hartwell Harris with the Public Defender's Office. If you qualify and you like, I can assign her to represent you. Is that your wish?
I want to hear from the ones that were charged with murder.
Absence, that means you could be tried in your absence and convicted. Is under this bond. Exactly right. So at that next appearance.
They gave him all bonds.
How old are you, Mr. Gallagher? 43. Mr. Gallagher, you're here today because the grand jury of Oneida County has returned an indictment against you. You must be arraigned upon that indictment. Counsel, you may arraign.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Gallagher, indictment 2025-35 in the Oneida County grand jury has charged you with various crimes, the top count of which is murder in the second degree. And I'd ask counsel to waive a further.
So how was that second degree murder? See, this is the part that people don't like to talk about. This is the breaks that white people get. Yo, that is not said. That was first degree murder. That was first degree. That wasn't second. That was premeditated. Look how long it lasted. Now I can see they say, well, they didn't know they was going to murder him that day. Yo, but they had enough time to think what they was doing. Think about what they was doing, and they still did it.
Yes, we do, Your Honor. We entered a plea of not guilty and waive reading of the indictment. A not guilty plea is entered on the defendant's behalf.
This time, Judge, I'm going to hand counsel a copy of the indictment with one name redacted, along with our standard pretrial notices, including a disc containing statements allegedly made by Mr. Gallagher.
That's crazy.
And ask you to acknowledge receipt of those.
I believe.
I acknowledge receipt.
No, well, I don't think we got a whole bunch of bluffing motherfuckers over here.
All right, in that case, it's the court's intention to adjourn the matter to
for real.
Morning of March 31st, 9:30 a.m. for a pretrial conference. I'll give you time between now and then to review the discovery materials and set a motion schedule at that next appearance. With respect to bail, what's the position of the people?
Your Honor, would recommend bail consistent with what you said on Mr. Anzalone and Mr. Farina.
Mr. Louis Brand, your thoughts?
Oh, yeah.
We would join in that request. I would aim that Mr. Gallagher is a lifetime resident of the area. He has family local.
What was the bail?
$1,000, and I understand you're asking to be released upon this bond.
How much?
Right? Yes. You understand what you're... And Mr. Anzalone, I have before me now a proposed bail bond in the amount of $250,000, and I understand you're asking to be released upon this bond. Do I have that right? Yes. You understand what your number one obligation is under this bond? Yes. What is that? Court. Exactly. Return to court. Some things I want to make sure you understand. First, you do have a right to be present at all stages of proceedings in your case, but if for some reason you did not come back to court as required, and a warrant would be issued for your arrest, the bail that you're posting by way of this bond, that would be forfeited and lost. You would then face a new felony charge, and that's known as bail
$250.
jumping.
I think that's adequate.
Proceed in your absence, that means you could
I
be
think
tried in your
$250
absence and
adequate.
convicted, sentenced in your absence as well. You understand? Yes. Have received now a document entitled Parker Warning, outlining the warnings that I just gave you in writing. You signed this document here as well after reviewing it with your attorney. Is that right? Yes. The assistance of counsel throughout these proceedings, and if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be assigned to you.
The family is upset.
Coverage.
No, Your Honor.
Court will permit the same. And sir, that's your name, correct? David Kingsley? Yes. So, Mr. Kingsley, you're here today because the grand jury of Oneida County did return an indictment against you. You are charged with one count of the felony offense of murder in the second degree and one count of the felony offense of manslaughter in the first degree. On these charges, you're entitled to the assistance of counsel at this and all stages of proceedings.
Hey, that bitch clapping. I ain't gonna lie, you ain't supposed to clap in court. Hey, that bitch clapping. They did though.
You at no cost to you. Ms. Hardwell, does he qualify?
Yes,
preliminarily?
Preliminary qualified for public defender services.
And with that in mind, Mr. Finelli, are you in a position to take an assignment? Yes. Why don't we have counsel approach, please?
Oh, so with the public defender was sitting next to the family, talking to the family like they was, you know, like she was on their side, or the wife or somebody.
It was her. She got kids. She got kids. We got kids. You killing our kids. You killing our kids. That ass.
Oh, that's not happening in court.
That's right. And she was over here, came over here messing with us. We wasn't saying shit to us. Nobody cares. And I want to know what I do too. And we still got to pay a high bill. We got the same shit you guys got. I never wanted down before, but now you got to pay. Don't talk to none of us. They go black money. Nobody over here is backing. You know what's our time? Your mama over here talking to us not stop. They have a house in the same time. And why did Mr. Fitzpatrick?
So they must be in the family room. You know, some family is allowed inside the courtroom. Do you know they got the other courtroom where people watching from the TV, and that's where the disturbance is coming from.
When you give a drug raid, $750,000 bail for 300 people? Bullshit. My son's murder, $50,000 bail.
Mr. Kingsley, you are entitled to the assistance of counsel throughout these proceedings, and if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be assigned to you. Do you intend to retain counsel, or would you like counsel assigned? All right, and I understand this, I will maybe at least preliminarily. All right, in that case, Mr. Kingsley, I do have attorney Matthew Finelli here. I'm going to assign him at this time as your attorney for purposes of today's arraignment. That's a conditional assignment insofar as I understand the public defender's office is going to complete their review of your financials.
So that for the people that did, let me show the people the video. Now they're going not monetize this video, but since we showed this, let me show you the video. The video was crazy. I ain't gonna show the whole video, but I'm gonna let people see what happened for people that don't know. Like this was a travesty. They might have took the video off the internet. Like that video was real bad. And they took the audio out. They took the audio out. Talking about I forgot why they said they didn't have the audio. But I think they took it out. Wait a minute, they probably took the video down. I ain't gonna lie, that video was graphic. It's very graphic. Very graphic. So let's just go right here. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the news.
We're tracking breaking news tonight video that clearly shows at least 12 strikes or punches to a man who's handcuffed. Robert Brooks had just been transferred to Marcy Correctional from another facility on the day of the assault. Part of the video you will soon see shows a corrections officer using a boot to kick Brooks, who's handcuffed with a bloody face. It happened Monday, December 9th. Robert Brooks, who was convicted of assault outside Rochester, died at the hospital in Utica the next day, December 10th. His death only became public Sunday the 15th, when it was announced by the state corrections commissioner that an inmate had died after use of force by staff at Marcy. Robert Brooks was identified as that inmate the next day, December 16th.
They said there wasn't no audio.
Later, on the 23rd, the governor called for the firing of 14 people implicated in his death. All told, the state attorney general released nearly 2 hours, widely condemned for its shocking violence. It begins after 9 o'clock at night, Monday, December 9th, on secure property outside Marcy Correctional. There is no sound because the cameras were in standby mode and not activated by the law enforcement officers wearing them.
I think they lying.
43-year-old Robert Brooks handcuffed behind his back.
I think if we would have heard the sound, it just makes it 10 times worse. But it's sound in this video. All these guys got on body cam and ain't no sound. It's sound in this motherfucking video. They just ain't released that shit.
Appears to be lifted off the ground and carried by his arms.
N-words and all types
Less
of
than
stuff.
a minute later, inside the prison infirmary, which is getting crowded with more prison staff. When we see Robert Brooks's face for the first time, it's bloody.
Let me take the Wisconsin off. So let you know they already beat on him.
Then the video shows 2 punches, the first of many.
I do not take lightly the release of this video, especially
right, Bob. Come on now.
The holiday season.
Everybody,
but as Attorney General, I release these videos because I have a responsibility and duty to provide the Brooks family, their loved ones, and all New Yorkers with transparency and accountability.
After 2 apparent punches, Robert Brooks's head is visibly wobbly. He's being held up by 2 correction officers. There is more struggle on the infirmary table, and an officer appears to deliver another strong punch. Less than a minute later, 3 more successive blows to the back of the inmate's body. Less than 15 seconds later, a correction officer is seen rubbing Brooks's chest and sternum area. And while the intent is not clear, a sternum rub is a painful stimulus used to assess the responsiveness of someone who may be unconscious. Eventually, Brooks is put into leg restraints. When Brooks is
pulled to put something in his mouth
position, the video clearly shows he's unsteady, barely able to stay upright without assistance. Even though the video is silent, the next blow is excruciating to watch. Brooks is not struggling. We don't know what's being said, but we see a wind-up, right-hand punch to the midsection. To get him to his feet, prison staff yank him by the collar. Then he's shoved against a wall. In a hallway outside, other staff members are seen listening to what's happening,
and laughing.
One of them clearly smiling or laughing about something. In the room, Robert Brooks is lifted straight up off the ground by 2 officers. Then, Brooks is back on the infirmary bed. He is stripped of his pants, now in underwear. He is no longer handcuffed. He is no longer moving.
As Attorney General,
they ain't even show the part where they tried to stuff something down his throat. They tried to stuff something down his throat. They ain't even show that part. Shit is crazy, man. All right, y'all. I think that about sum it up for the night. And make sure I support the platform, man. Did anybody support the platform this whole live? Oh shit. Yo. That Robert Brooks situation is crazy, but I wanted to tap back into it because we covered it, but we didn't. I ain't never give y'all an update. My man, Hand 5000, he talked about it on Raw Do a podcast, but we ain't never talked about it over here. But at the end of the day, you can third party cooperate in Georgia, like. That was a wild video selection, my man. My man Sean G put out. Like, you know what I mean? That's how he run this shit. You know, we keep it all. We ain't really in the cliffhangers. You know, ain't what we do. But everybody do shit different. 50 Cent wild as a motherfucker. For sharing 1090 Jake. Like 1090 Jake is credible. Like he ain't a whole rat his goddamn self. I think 50 was out of order for that. What else we talked about? Y'all, tomorrow, if I get in the house in time, I think we gonna review that Charleston White interview. Cause I'm sure he said a lot of dumbass shit. Yo, you better not chew nothing up. Get in the cage. I'm sure he said a lot of dumb stuff in that interview that we need to talk about. Chloe, where you at? Come on, in the cage. Sure he did, because he always do. Chloe! Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Like I'm not one of them people like when it comes out of that meat stuff. Like I don't need to see anything else. Like I know people waiting for Tammy to fit. I don't need to see anything else involving me to know what he did. Oh, we talked about Diddy. That Diddy situation, wow. I think Diddy gonna beat that case. Look like the prosecution is malicious. They withholding evidence that can clear that man's name. Look like they lied on the warrant. Or if they didn't lie, it wasn't all the way. Which one of y'all did that? Who did it? Hold on, y'all. I don't think they was all the way truthful. To get that warrant, left some key things out. Which one of y'all did this? And what I think they left out was the fact. Ew, man. Nasty ass shit, man. What I think they left out was that Diddy, that this alleged victim, I think they left out the fact that this alleged victim is a person that he been openly in a relationship with for 9 fucking years. I think that is egregious work to use Laura Rod's lawsuit as a way to secure search warrants and to secure indictment, but then not call him to be a witness. But ultimately, I don't think the judge is gonna give a fuck about none of that shit. The sad part. I don't think the judge is gonna care about none of that shit. I think the judge is gonna say everything was perfectly fine, and we'll see you in court. Because the fix is already in. At least when it come down to trial with Diddy. I think they want to see this thing all the way through. We still haven't heard no update on the leaking of the jailhouse video. We haven't heard no update of that. Real, what you talking about, real? Takeoff is alive. Yeah, Jordan, that video was terrible. Yeah, I seen something going on with Buka 600 said that something, I think the name something Sean. He said that him and somebody else was the best coming out the West, and I seen something where Von 1600 said niggas was hating. Yeah, I seen all that. No, I don't report on none of that. But I seen it. I don't like nothing about the drill movement. I think they all phony. To be honest. I think every single one of them phony. They can't rap. I think Von 1600 said he been rapping for a year. A year. I think drill rap is the cheat sheet. You know, it's the fast track. That's why so many people participate in it. I don't think you have to have no real talent to be a drill rapper. Just start dissing niggas and talking. I mean, I probably can be a drill rapper. You don't have to have no real substance. For real. Yeah, I seen that. Yeah, Malik, I seen that video. But what I'm telling you is somebody else got beat up behind that. So, yeah, I seen the video of him getting beat. I think they did wrong. Yeah, we don't get into that. I think they did wrong for what they did to 440 week because I don't think you can call him a rat off that paperwork. Nobody went to jail. So I don't know why they doing that. I don't know enough about the situation to say they hating, but that's what it looks like. I can't say that. It does look like hate. Can't call that boy a rat off that fucking video, man. Oh, okay, that's what it's about. Oh, all right. Yeah, I seen that shit. Yeah, but you can't call that boy a rat off that paperwork. Ain't nobody went to jail. Now, you can say, if you want to, man, it's enough for me to stop fucking with y'all because he might talk. You know, it's a possibility that if some real shit happened, he might talk. Yeah, but he didn't. That's what I'm saying. It's enough to say, I don't know if I can fuck with y'all on no street shit, you know, because he might give up some information if they put some pressure on him. But you can't call him a rat. You know, a rat implies that somebody went to jail. Yeah, but we don't know who made it. Don't nobody know when that call. I did a video on him, Malik. I talked about it on Instagram too. We did a whole video about it on Instagram. You gotta follow my Instagram. It's on there. They ain't no telling when that phone call was made. Because yo, what happens is if I get pulled over driving somebody else's car, right? And they tell me the car is stolen. If I'm say you lend say I lend you my car, Malik. You get pulled over. They tell you my car is stolen. What you gonna do? Yo, keep it G, what the fuck? Yo, they tell me the car is stolen. That's the right thing to do in that situation. Now, if he knew about it and he did that, yeah, that's wild. That's what I say. That's enough to say, yo, I can't fuck with Joe. Shorty might, you know, he might turn over if shit get real. But to go as far as calling him a rat and then really getting niggas jumping on him because of that, yeah, I think that's, I don't know, yo, that's a little different. Nah, Malik, that's not how you handle it when you driving legit. When you driving legit, that's not how you supposed to handle that. That's not how you. I mean, you can do it that way, but you should want to know off the rip, like, yo, because they could be wrong. You understand what I'm saying? They could have got bad information, because if my word to you is good, I'm telling you, yo, look, my car's straight, yo, go ahead, drive that bitch. And they saying, no, this is Stolo. Like, yo, hold up, yo, my man ain't gonna give me no Stolo. Oh, what the fuck, yo, they talking about the car stolen. You know, I don't know. They could have got it wrong. Shit, the motherfuckers, they pull people over saying you look like a suspect, and you know they do all type of ill shit. I done got pulled over, so I fit the description of somebody before. I remember I got pulled over. They told me I fit the description of somebody that ran away. Like, well, the fuck if a person ran away, like, I don't think they just be driving around. Like, so he ain't even answer. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, y'all. Like, I just don't like it. Like, to me, it looks like hate. Look like they trying to slander that boy. I think they should at least give him the opportunity of speaking on it once he got home. Then niggas can build their perception off of what's real versus what's fake. But right now, we just getting a one-sided story. In that paperwork, it don't mention that he did any of the things that the post said. The paperwork don't say none of that. The paperwork say, I did a video. It's on my Instagram. Stories with V was over there. It was me, Stories with V. Do I support God? Of course I support God. What the hell? It was me, Stories with V, and there was Ham Waldo podcast. We talked about it. Scooby-Doo, what it is. But it's 1:45. I gotta go to bed. I gotta get my kids up to school tomorrow. Yeah, and that's what it sounds like. Frank, it don't sound like he knew. Because from what I understand, Shorty he got cars, 2 of them. He got a legit driver's license. Like, it doesn't make sense for a person that got his own cars, have a legit driver's license, to be riding in the striker. Now, he could possibly, shit, some of these young niggas, young kids, that's how they ride. That's how they ride. But it just don't make sense. It don't line up with the perception of who he is. I mean, I don't know him personally. I was talking about the perception. Typically you don't even have 21-year-olds that have a license nowadays. 21-year-olds don't ride with licenses. I mean, license, they ride with Virginia tags and no L's, and they running red lights, and I mean, they're not riding legit. But if he was riding in a striker with drugs and guns, that's fucking stupid as hell. And he knew that. Yeah, I think that if that was my man and he pulled a move like that, I would stop fucking with him. Like, yo, I ain't gonna lie, bro. That was wild as a motherfucker, boy. I can't fuck with that. I mean, but they want to put hands on him and call him a rat, I just think that's too much. Because nobody went to jail. Nobody got arrested. But make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, hit that like button on the way out. It's another day of Keep It G News, and I'm out.